Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Master Race Cars E-Challenge Round 3 here at the New York E-Prix, brought to you, of course, by us here at Sim Broadcast. Looking forward to being here today with you. So in the commentary box with me today, it's not Travis as per normal. We actually have Andy Alston joining me today. He has done a few with us, but this is his first E-Challenge. And of course, we have Peter and Chris on the back end with the production side. Andy, how are you finding how are you looking forward to your first round here?
Yes, thank you, Tom. Delighted to be here, and I am really looking forward to this one because this track demands a lot from the driver over a single lap. So qualifying is going to be really important. And then, of course, we have that first corner because that really could make or break your race because it's easy to be caught up in an incident there as the drivers have to be aggressive at this track. And make no mistake about it, this event is going to be crucial in deciding the outcome of this championship.
Yes, it is indeed, Andy. Last year we saw some absolute chaos round here. Of course, this is a 2.2 kilometer, 1.4 mile circuit with 14 corners to test the drivers on. The practice, of course, the pre-practice has been done, and we've just had the qualifying going on currently while we're sat here introducing you. But of course, we will have the duels with the top 8 drivers being their decided places from there, and as well as a 21 lap sprint where you have one attack mode you need to use, and then with the main feature race being 33 laps where the top 10 drivers do start off in a reverse grid order, and of course 2 attack modes they'll need to use in that one as well. Moving on here, of course, it's a 4-round championship. This is, of course, round 3. The next round, of course, in 2 weeks' time at the Portland E-Prix. Just the drivers there getting lined up in the pit lane, ready to start the qualifying, the first open qualifying session here, which will decide positions from 9 downwards, and then we'll have those top 8, of course, for the duels. And there we go, the drivers coming out of the pit lane there. You see Adam Brown, of course, representing Team Sim Broadcast, and a few of the other drivers circulating out onto the track as well. It's going to be interesting. Of course, with this being the qualifying, the drivers don't really want to get bunched up because then they'll have the issue of ruining each other's lap times. Andy, you've had a little try on the track, I believe. What are you expecting from the drivers here today?
Yeah, this is going to be a really tricky test here because it's quite a narrow circuit, and it's a circuit where I think you simply have to throw the car up the inside and commit to the overtake. Given the very long straights that we have here as well, I think managing your battery is going to be very important as well. You're going to see a lot of listing and coasting, I suspect, in the feature race, and of course, with this being the penultimate round of this championship, drivers can't afford to be caught out by running low on their battery.
No, of course, some wise words there. Looking back at last year's, of course, we saw, as you said, you've got to really commit to some of the moves. We saw Dennis Lind in the closing laps of the feature race make a fantastic dive on Gabor into turn 6 last year. Really had to send it to try and fight for that position. And of course, we had drivers running out of power onto the back straight, where we had some incredible finish line action where drivers would merely centimeters away from positional changes there. So really is, as you say, it is one where the drivers have to be so careful on the preservation as it has a much higher demand. You see Adam Brown here onto his first lap, a lot of sliding through the turn 4 and 5 segment there. It just carries on going round and round and round, but here we see coming up to the turn 6, lifting off and braking around the 90, and then getting a tight segment here. Very difficult if you don't have your tyres quite fired up, ready to go. Get the understeer coming out of 7. Now the kink of 8 there before getting hard onto the brakes for turn 9. Huge oversteer there, and he's going to lose a lot of time with that lap. I did see during his practice he was struggling a bit with this section here and get the car turned in, but doing really well at the hairpin of turn 10, which of course is where the attack zone is going to be during the race. And then turn 11 here, when you get into this section here, there's not really any room for overtaking, but that sort of medium speed chicane there of 12 and 13, you've got to really be off throttle because you don't have the aerodynamic grip in this car to keep going round. And then turn 14, the long left-hander to bring you around to start finish straight, you've got to be off throttle. It's just going to sort of drift around it and you will wash out and hit the wall. But there we go. Adam Brown initially set the fastest lap, being the first across the line of a 107, but Sean Lee, they're currently top of the standings with a 105.49.
Yeah, a great lap there by Sean Lee. That's a very, very impressive time already. And you can see the drivers, are so close to the barriers. You really have to push the car to the limits here. If you're a little bit conservative going into the corners, it will cost you that time on the exit. I think for me as well, Tom, one of the really interesting elements of this race is you have to get the car rotated very, very quickly. If you get bogged down in the middle of the corners, it's very difficult to get the power down because just how sensitive the throttle is. So it's all about being smooth in the power delivery, but crucially, getting the car turned in nice and early.
Yeah, these E-Challenge cars, 350 kilowatts of power, all to the rear wheels, and they don't have the most amount of mechanical grip either. So if you're trying to get on the throttle too early, you're going to suffer with the rear wheel grip, and then also you're going to wash out. Of course, during the race, only going to have about 300 kilowatts instead. Here we see Gabba, of course. Gabba, very, very quick driver, the winner of last year's championship, but this year he's had an absolute nightmare. Was unable to finish round one, and then did not get a good points haul at all from round two again. So he's going to be determined to get a good result here. Normally very, very fast, so he's going to be absolute between a mission. And of course, currently at the top of the lead is Imran Azar. He is very, very good in these cars. He might not have the one lap pace you see from Gabba, but he does have the energy conservation absolutely masters. We've seen countless times over the last year where he's not quite been there on pace with the other drivers around him, but when it gets to the end of the race, he has the energy left, so he can keep pushing when others have had to back off and preserve them. Pedro Vito going very slowly, letting some of the drivers who I assume are probably on their fast laps through while he's on maybe his out lap here, but Berry's over there, and there he goes, he's tele-pitted back, so he's just getting out of everyone's way, Andy.
Yeah, that's sensible driving there. Very impressive time by our current leader, Imran Azar. Almost half a second on Gabor in P2, of course. Azar goes into this event as our championship leader with a 34-point lead over Adam Brown, who is currently in 7th place at the moment. So just come down to the final couple of minutes of this initial qualifying. And the thing for me here as well, Tom, is when drivers are putting in such fast times like that we see from Azar, I think that really does play an important role in the psychological aspect as we look ahead to the duels as well, because the drivers, of course, they're going to be looking at the times that everyone else has done. There is Vitor just a little bit wide on the exit of that corner. Again, that's going to compromise them quite significantly coming through the final part of this lap. Currently 13th place at the moment for the number 51 car. But yeah, I think the duels element of qualifying is a very, very interesting addition to motor racing in general, and it'll be interesting to see how the drivers approach this one, particularly as well, Tom, that last corner, because you've got that bump on just before you go into the exit, and it's all about being brave on the throttle as well, getting the car turned in and just hoping that it just sticks and makes its way all the way around the corner safely. But yeah, Imran Azar still leading there, although Gabor has improved just under a tenth of a second between our current two drivers who are leading the way.
Yeah, Imran Azar, Gabba, very, very quick drivers. I know Adam Brown managed to get himself up into 4th place with his last lap. I mean, there's been quite a few uncharacteristic errors we'll call from Gabba, but I expect him to really, really be quick. And I know, as you mentioned, the psychological aspect of the duels, getting a solid time in this first session can help put the stick to the driver you're going to be facing, because I know as you get further into the sessions, the drivers will be trying to go for absolutely everything, especially if you're up against the likes of Imran or Gabba. You need to be absolutely on it, which can really help them in a sense of if you're making a mistake here or there, then it's only ever going to play into them because their hands, because they know the times they can do, the times they can do, but you've really got to go out there and beat them. So it really, as you said, it does play into the psychological aspect quite a lot. You see Todd Bonzales here coming around the final corner, just dropped to our leader Imran Azar here. It appears to be on I assume he's probably on a warm-up out lap here. Was looking a little bit slower in the previous couple of corners, but it seems to have quite a bit of commitment here. I think it's probably to keep the heat in the tyres. But Andy, I think we're going to watch him here for a lap unless he is actually flying here.
Yeah, all about getting the heat into the tyres on this out lap here. Azar will take the flying lap here as he crosses the start-finish line to go on his final lap here of this initial qualifying. We're right on board here with Imran Azar, a championship leader, of course, and currently leading the way in this qualifying session as well. This part of the track is all about being patient with that car. Don't put the throttle down too early, because then you'll get the car very, very loose on the exit. But Azar is looking very fast here indeed. Hard on the brakes now as we come into the left-hander here. Commit, try and get the car in nice and early. Just a little slide in the middle of the corner and tap the barrier on the inside as well, just towards the apex. So that will have cost him a little bit of time here as we go into another tricky left-hander here, as this will then, of course, take us into the hairpin, all about getting the car located nice and quickly here. Full lock, and then get the power down. A little bit of traffic ahead of him, but that shouldn't come into contention for this lap here for Azar, as he is looking to try and extend that lead at the top of this qualifying session. Just a 10th splitting him and Gabor at the moment as we come across the final corner here and head over the start-finish line. Will this be enough for Azar to extend his lead at the top? And he does. He makes it 0.3 of a second. And that is a big, big statement of intent there from Imran Azar.
Yeah, really laying down the gauntlet for Gabba. He's put it in there like, you're normally the fastest here. You've been the quickest. You were champion last year, but come and have a go. As of course, Gabba's done his lap, so he isn't going to be able to do another one in to challenge that. And that is sort of looking here. Sean here is, of course, the only one who I think is probably able to cause challenge. He's currently on the outlap, getting his tyres warmed up, getting the heat in there, getting ready to go, getting himself set up. Of course, first event I've seen Sean back with us for a little while, as we've got someone coming up behind him currently. I think it might be Roney on his actual flying lap himself. So I think Sean's going to be far enough ahead to not get in the way, because he's going to really pick up the speed now to make sure he gets the heat in the tyres ready for his flying lap. See Roney here cautious through 12 and 13, does end up touching the wall still on the outside of 13, gets it turned in nicely around 14. So I think we're going to switch to Sean now. There you go, Roney across the line, and here we go. No improvement from Roney, but Sean here through three. Going here through 3 and into 4. Does touch the wall slightly there as you go into 5, but I think he might just be lagging slightly. Looks okay overall, but still giving it a good go. All the way down now to turn 6, getting on the brakes nicely. Is he able to get turned in? Oh, a little bit late on the turn in, but looks okay so far. Touching the apex nicely, maybe a little slow on the throttle, but getting the car away nicely. No real wheel spin to speak of. Going round, slight kink of 8 and then hard onto the brakes at the 60. Ran slightly wide there. 4.9, but able to keep the pace up well. Is he able to get the hairpin right? Oh, he's run a little bit wide there and lost a fair bit of time as we got the run now to turn 11, braking nicely. You see the car just lunge forward, takes a lot of curve on the inside, and he has to run a bit wide into the wall on the outside there, sliding through 12 and 13 and hard into the wall there on the outside 13, and has bailed out on his lap. So your top 8, which we will be seeing into the heats as they line up, is Imran Azar there, top in the charts at the 104.54. Gabba 0.3 of a second back with a 104.84. Then to Sean Lee with the 105.49. With Adam Brown rounding out your top 4 at 105.76. Ramon Hornos was dropping back a bit more time there, 0.4 of a second behind Adam in 5th. Carlos Montoyotis in 6th. Timo Sarkinen and Cyril Brisset round out your 7th and 8th for the shootout positions.
Yeah, really interesting qualifying session there, Tom, and it's harsh on Lorenzo Lucidi, who misses out on the top 8 duel by just 1/10 of a second in the end there. And it just goes to show how close the action is throughout the field here as well. But we have to go back to that lap by Imran Azar. 0.3 of a second is the gap between him and Gabor. That was a really impressive time. Of course, Azar will face off against Bissy, the 21 car, in his split for the duel. But I am really looking forward to how this next phase of the event unfolds.
Yeah, something I've just noticed as well, actually. Nico Pantola, a driver, very, very quick with multiple wins across the last 2 seasons anyway, here in E-Challenger, was actually dead last, not able to put in a competitive lap time at all. A 1:19.59, we know he can do better than that. And there's been a little bit of chat in the actual race, in the race session, basically showing that there was issues where he lost out on his flying laps both times, so was unable to put an accurate and representative lap time together. Sorry about that, struggle with the wording there. But yeah, 119, so that's huge there. He's going to have to fight his way through the pack, and it's definitely going to be one to watch out there.
Yes, absolutely. Patola, of course, 4th in the Drivers' Championship going into this event as well. So certainly has it all to do, but I suppose he will take a little bit of comfort from the fact that, things have maybe not gone quite his way in qualifying. He can just put that behind him now and focus on the rest of the event. So certainly one driver worth keeping an eye on, though.
Yeah, got the duels graphic up here. So our first duel is going to be Imran Mazar versus Cyril Basset, 1st and 8th place to decide who's going into the semi-finals there. Then Adam Brown versus Ramon Hornos for the next one, who's going to then decide who's going to face that first couple. Gabba and Timo Sarkkinen facing off in the 3rd duel we're going to have, with Sean Lee and Chaos Montiotis rounding out the 4th of those first pairings. And then that's going to decide our semi-finals, finals, and then all the way to who's going to be on pole and who's going to be filling out our front row. So it's going to be some intense fighting going on there. So I believe we're going to be going to our championship standings now, just as that loads up here. As we see, Imran Mazar, 34 points clear of Adam Brown there at the top. He's in a really, really strong position there. Chaos Montiotis in 4th, another 8 points back from Adam Brown. And Nico Prantola in 4th with 84 points, 14 points behind. Timo Sarkkinen in 5th with Ronnie Kronpros in 6th. Koskin there, Merit Joskin down in 7th with Lorenzo Lucidi shortly behind him in 8th, with Pedro Vitor right on the heels of Lucidi. Jared Mead not far behind him. Again, of course, Jared not here today either, so he's going to lose out there. Cyril Basset with 35 points, with a great opportunity to strike higher up the table. Mika Sarkkinen on 28. Scorn Roberts currently sitting on 25 points, looking promising to gain a few positions, probably break into the top 10 is still very much possibility for him. And Ramon Hornos there in 14th. And then Silver Ocasino with 20 points, Martin Kapoor on 18, Yefin Jakob on 18 as well, and Todd Bonzales there with 9, Daniel Balla and Jibin Liu rounding out our top 20 on there. I do apologise for this. This seems to be a little bit technical glitch. We'll move on from that one there. And now we're going to bring up the team standings. Sidus there with 224 points, clear ahead of Race Green Autosport there at 107. But Adam Brown's Sim Broadcaster with 106, just right behind. The battle for second is very much on, but Team Sidus clear ahead with the lead. Here we go. We're going to be switching back now because the first duel is getting ready to go out, of course, between Imran Mazar and Cyril Basset. Yeah, drivers here just making their way down the pit lane to get lined up at the end of the road there by the traffic light, waiting to go. We'll see who's going to be going first out shortly. I believe it's Imran Mazar is going to be taking first and doing the first lap, with Cyril Basset chasing him round, just waiting currently for the lights to change, then to go out onto their laps.
Yeah, the drivers have to leave a 10-second gap here. So Basset just has to bide his time here, let Imran Mazar make his way down the track and through the first section of this circuit, which he does now as we follow the championship leader, car number 15. And yes, I think this will be an interesting one. And I think, Tom, it was a good call on the drivers' standings as well here, because this is a real opportunity, I think, for Cyril Basset to really make his way up through the standings here. Of course, drivers will receive points if they finish up to 20th, so all the drivers here will be eligible to score quite a few points as long as they can keep that car on the track, and they will be able to make some moves here in the standings. But Imran Mazar here on his outlap, trying to again get as much temperature as possible as he can into these tyres. And Tom, what's interesting for me here as well is, and we saw this a little bit over the last rounds in this championship, is the drivers seem to have some different styles for getting temperature into the tyres here. Some drivers very, very aggressive, whereas others just preferring to be a little bit more steady as they make their way around their outlap.
Yeah, as you say, a bit steady around the outlap. Imran Mazar completely sideways, sliding round for the final corner. So not going to have the best run into turn one, but braking around the 65 mark, getting it turned in, lagging a little bit, but it should be all okay on his end. Round 1 and 2, 5-3, just a little bit wide of the apex, but 4, once again, just getting round there. I think Imran Mazar is going to be probably safe with this, unless he makes mistakes. So he needs to keep his focus on and keep going. We know he's got the pace to win this one, but here we go, braking there around the 75, getting turned in nicely, clipping the apexes for 6 and 7 well, getting on the power cleanly as we go round turn 8, out wide to line up and just get hard on the brakes as the wall on the right gets all straight for turn 9, sorry, on the brakes well into the hairpin. Imran Mazar is currently ahead in the duels. You see split one there. He's over a second up through the first split. And there's huge lag at the minute. Whether he's going to be able to complete the lap or if he has rejoined us there. So that was a bit of a heart in mouth moment, whether he was going to be able to keep going or if that was a huge issue. But yeah, there we go. He's got round the final corner cleanly, really quick to do a 105.75. So not the fastest he done, but still over a second, nearly 2 seconds ahead of Cyril Basset here as he comes around the penultimate corner into the final corner, a little bit wide, trying to carry as much speed as possible, but does clatter the wall a bit in the run up to the line here, and not quite able to do it with a 108.42, so just shy of 3 seconds behind there. So Imran progresses through.
Yeah, good lap there by Imran Azar. That would have been good enough to put him 4th in our initial qualifying session. So still very much a fast time from our championship leader, but of course it was a 104.5 for Azar initially in qualifying. But we're now on to the second phase here, and Tom, this will be a very, very interesting battle.
Yeah, Adam, known very, very quick driver, driven with him on many occasions. He's very, very quick, but he's been a little inconsistent overall in this championship. So he does need to keep his head on and keep progressing through. He should, in theory, he is, if you were to stack the odds, he is the favourite for this qualifying battle here. But that being said, he did make a few mistakes, especially in round 1. Did not get on with turn 1 with the wall on the outside there, which did cost him his qualifying duel. So he needs to keep his head switched on, keep the focus on here for this duel. He's got Ramon Hornos there, who's doing a lot of tyre warming as well. So is Adam. So he's a bit slower on the outlaps we have here, but both looking to do a good time. I think this one's probably going to be a little bit closer than the previous duel, but it's yet to see here, as I'm assuming Adam will be coming around the final corner here. Got up to speed, very wide around the corner, but able to get himself back into line and just sort of slingshot down the start, finish straight there. Hard on the brakes around the similar sort of position that Imran Mazar was, but has gone very wide into turn 1, which isn't going to help. Able to get it back for turn 2, turn 3, just slightly wide the apex with carrying good speed, rubbing the wall on the outside. There we go for turn 4 as well. Another run down towards turn 6 as you've got Ramon Hornos going into turn 1, also very wide, but a bit slower than Adam was. And how's he going to navigate this first couple? There we go. Adam at 23.6, a very strong second time anyway. Whether he's going to be able to be far ahead of Ramon Hornos, but yet to see as he's coming on down towards this first split area here. Hard on the brakes for turn 6, and he's faster. He's 0.05 of a second faster than Adam is, so he's in a very strong position currently. Adam's going to need to pick up the pace, sort his lines out a bit, so using all the road possible for him there. Cyril Basset doing very well as well. Adam very quick through the chicane there, turn in, fully committed to the final corner there, using all the road, very fast round there, and running up to the line there to do a 106.25. He is just over a 10th faster than Ramon Hornos is currently. Very close. Is Ramon able to get a good run through this final time? Oh, big kick of oversteer on turning, but he's able to keep down. Oh, sliding more around the final corner on the run up to the line here. He's just slower. 0.06 of a second between the two. Very close battle, and Adam progresses. So he'll be going into the semi-finals versus Imran Mazar.
But what about that? That was a fantastic duel there between those two drivers. And Ramon, I have to say, is probably a driver who you could argue is in a bit of a false position in that championship standings. You know, currently 14th at the moment. Didn't start the feature race last time out, of course, in Berlin. So definitely one driver worth following throughout this event. But again, another really interesting duel about to develop here as well, Tom. Again, two very, very fast drivers. I think this is just a really interesting and exciting addition to this event, because what we're seeing as well, I've just been noticing looking at the times, is the drivers are slightly slower in these duels than what we witnessed in qualifying. So it does go to show just how much the added pressure has on some of the drivers so far.
Yeah, I think it's also a little bit of it is that some of the faster drivers who we know do have that ultimate pace, being a little bit more cautious with this. They don't want to risk losing and making big mistakes, which will cost them. So I would expect Imran Mazar to be about a second faster by the time if he does reach the finals, or definitely turn the wick up a bit for the next competition. As I've just seen, Claire's Montoya just there completely missed the turn-in for turn 11 and has hit the wall. But here we go. Sean Lee hard on the brakes for turn 1. Bit wide there, slid wide, didn't get the braking quite right, did manage to get it back together though for turn 2 and turn 3 as he's touched the wall again between 3 and 4, did catch the apex nicely for 3 and is able to hold it round 4 very well. Struggling a little bit on his connection at the minute. Sean, of course, a driver who we know can be incredibly quick but quite inconsistent, so hopefully we've got the quick there, apex nicely and doing well through 7 and get the run to 8 nicely. Very fast there, 23.58. Very quick time. Should have Carlos Montoya. Carlos Montoya has gone 2 temps quicker through that first segment. So all the pressure now onto Sean. Carlos has been absolutely fantastic through this bit here. Gets the car tucked in nicely, braking about 55, 60 meters nicely onto the apex there and using all the room available. Sean, very wide, nailing the wall on the exit of turn 11 at 48.8. Not the best time for him. He's looking very scrappy. He's been a bit all over the place, pushing hard, sliding round the final corner, but doing quite well so far. Montoyotis has hit the wall as well through turn 11. Same place. Sean Lee crossing the line there at 106.27. Can Carlos Montoyotis hold it together? Doing well. A huge slide around the outside there. But he needs to keep his foot in. It's all still to play for. Big final moment there through the finals. Couple corners, I think, has cost him there, Andy.
Yeah, that was a great battle there. 0.2 of a second or so between them across the initial sectors. Both drivers making mistakes on their flying laps as well, but Sean Lee managing to win that duel.
Yeah, I think Sean did quite well there to get back through there. And here we go, a man that we would expect to go all the way through to the finals. He's not going to have to face Imran Mazar until the end, or Adam Brown possibly in the finals. Gabba, a man who we have known has won pretty much everything he's entered into and has incredible consistency across. He's looking to refine that form though in this championship. It's been very hit and miss so far. He was excellent during the qualifying in round 1, but then just couldn't complete it with the races due to issues externally. Looking for some redemption and to climb his way up the leaderboard there. Huge slide to get the heat into the tyres around the hairpin here. As we see, very aggressive tyre warming, slight tap of the wall there, and looking like a man who really, really knows what he's going to want to do, looks in control of the car as we come here to the final corner. This is going to quite possibly be quite a quick lap. As you see, very smooth around the final corner, not wanting to overheat the outside of the tyres. Full throttle now until about the 100, where he lifts and then brakes. Bit wide, huge kick. He did brake too late there, carried too much speed, messed turn 1 up, but nicely for turn 2 and turn 3. Clipping the apexes, using all the road available, and then back down for turn 4, keeping it tight and getting onto the throttle on the way out of turn 5. No sliding, keeping great traction and good driving as we go to turn 6 here. Lifting and braking just after the 100, clipping the apex nicely and holding it very tight. Round 7, slight tap of the wall to kick the rear out, but it's not slid when getting onto the power, keeping it tight for 8, braking just as the wall tidies up, but sliding as we go in to the apex of turn 9 and keeping it relatively clean and tidy into turn 10 here. The hairpin runs very much under control, using all the road possible for him in the run up to turn 11. As Team Sarkin here turning in for turn 9 very well, using all of the road as well. Gabor is 3 temps ahead through the first section, but a strong second sector time as well. Final corner, huge slide and touching the wall. Is he going to carry enough speed? It's half a second up through the first section and has also just done a 105.86 second fastest time. Sarkin doing very well for himself, navigating through the turns 12 and 13. Round 14 here. Huge slide in the exit, and if that's going to cost him, it very well could be. But huge slide, and there we go, a 106.9. Gabor once again showing the imperiousness and progressing on through Team Sarkin. 106.9. dropping down to 7th fastest time so far, Andy.
You can just tell these drivers are flooring the car on that final corner, can't you? Every single time you're seeing the rear of the car going so wide. As long as you don't end up in that barrier on the outside, of course, you can get away with just a little tap, but as long as it's not any more than that. But another good battle there in the duels, and Tom, I have to say, this has been excellent action so far here at the New York E-Prix.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic first set of duels there. As we see semi-finals, we're going to have Imran Mazar versus Adam Brown and Gabba versus Sean Lee. So Imran Mazar and Adam Brown, I think my money, I'm going to put it on Imran. Adam is quick, but Imran is just a bit more. And then I have to say, Sean does have potential to beat Gabba, but his consistency puts it into question for me. I think Gabba, as long as he's able to hold himself together, should win that one. Andy, what's your thinking?
Yeah, I think this will be very interesting indeed. Adam Brown was, of course, 4th initially in the first phase of the qualifying before we went into the duels, but I reckon there was a little bit more time there, so it will be very interesting to see just how much of a fight he will be putting up in that battle there for the semi-final. In the other bracket, Gabor and Sean Lee, of course, 2 very quick drivers as well. Gabor, I get the feeling, is just growing in confidence with each lap here behind the wheel of that car, and Sean Lee, as you mentioned, another very fast driver, 3rd initially, but I think it will be very close to call in both of these semi-final events.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. Of course, this is where the tension really starts in. These are your top 4 drivers, and where they're going to end up now on the grid is going to be decided over these next few laps here. First pair coming out, of course, is going to be Imran and Adam. I believe Imran is going to lead Adam around the lap, and we'll see who Imran is going to lay down the market, and Adam will have that to chase as we go round. It's going to be intense. Of course, a slight mistake here can have huge repercussions for the race ahead, Andy.
Yes, absolutely. You know that this is the phase of the duels where, and you kind of referenced this earlier on as well, the drivers will just have to turn up the pace a little bit here as well. This is where it really becomes important. I think, again, we mentioned this a little bit in the beginning of the duels phase, but the different approaches to the warm-ups that we're seeing here. You know, some drivers very aggressive with the way that they're trying to generate the heat in the tyres. That does benefit them, of course, in the first sector of this lap, where you've got that hard braking zone going into turn 1, the left-hander, and then you've got 3 consecutive right-handers, or 4 consecutive right-handers, I should say. So that does help you there. The temperatures will reduce a little bit, of course, down the straight, but it's maybe towards the end of that lap where it'll be a little bit more challenging for the drivers that do opt to take that aggressive warm-up strategy. But we see our championship leader, Imran Azar, here leading the way in this duel here. He will, of course, have that 10-second gap between him and Adam Brown. So there is Imran Azar making his way out of pit lane and about to set his lap here in the semi-finals.
Yeah, a man who has been ever so consistent through this, and it's great to see him really having this pace at the front here. This is going for who will be the lead car in the finals, which of course sets your front row. Adam here, if he loses here, he will be starting 4th on the grid, but if he gets victory, then he has the contention for the pole position. So slight bias, of course. Adam Brown, of course, is our sim broadcast car with the almost retro Apple livery that you used to see on the Porsche 935s, I think it is. I might be incorrect on the exact car designation, but looking at a very simplistic and lovely livery. Of course, the Siders one ever so vibrant with the pink and the almost fluoro sort of pinky, and the yellow on there as well. You see Imran here going round turn 11, getting ready to go towards the penultimate corner through the chicane. No damage to himself. And has he got the tyre temperatures up? Here we go. Chucks it into the final corner. Turns up the wick. Doesn't want to run wide. Does slightly touch the wall on the outside. But here we go. Speed up. Braking just after the 100 board. Gets nicely turned in. Does apex. A bit of a late apex to cut back, which is sort of just what you need here. Gets down, but always spun for me. I wonder if that was lag. It was just lag. Oh, huge tension heartbreak here. The server having a little bit of ping issues, but Imran is going fairly well here. Adam starting for the lap as well. Imran braking about the 94 for turn 6 and 7. It gets well with the apex and corner. Adam here going round 4 and 5, coming back out. Imran Mazar with a 22.97, absolute flying on that first split and really laying down the marker for Adam. Is he able to contend with that? I'm not sure. It's a very, very quick time. And no, he's a 10th of a second fast. Adam with a really fast lap either way, but still a 10th back. And Imran having a fantastic hairpin into turn 11, using all of the retract available to him. Turns in committed for 12 and 13. Using all the road and keeping it off the walls here. It chucks it in for 14. A huge off the throttle, about 70% away for stamping back on. This is going to be a quick lap time here, as we see a 104.39, absolutely flying there. 3.5 tenths of a second up on Adam through sector 2. Is Adam going to be able to respond in this final sector? Chucks it in there for the final corner. It's very neat, very tidy on the throttle well. The run up to the line here, half a second down. Adam Brown with a fantastic 104.89, but nothing could quite touch Imran's 104.39. That was incredible, Andy.
Yeah, great action there. I mean, that was a very, very strong lap there by Adam Brown, but Imran Hazard just found a little bit more speed in the final phase of the lap. But a great battle between those two drivers, and we've got one more to go here in the semi-final.
Yeah, Sean Lee just on his warm-up now towards turn 6, leading Gabor around the track here. This is going to be quite a little battle here, and I think it's going to be interesting. If I had to put money down, I think I'd give it on Gabba, but we'll be interested to find out. We know Sean can pull absolute fantastic performances out of the hat that you weren't expecting. He's a man you can never write off. He's being a lot more reserved on his tyre warming than Gabba was, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he's going to have this grip for turn 1, or if he might slide a bit wide. He knows Gabba, he knows the performance he can do, so he knows he's going to have to be absolutely on it here, as we see going into the chicane here at 12 and 13, keeping plenty of space from the walls. And here we go, chucks the car in, very committed to 14, slide on the way through, but able to get the car nicely wrapped up and on the power very well to reach all the way up to 246 kilometers an hour before hard on the brakes. Gets it to, not quite slowed down enough, going to lose a lot of time there. Probably about a 10th of a second running that wide, maybe 2. But able to get the car nicely recovered for 2 and 3, 4. Missing the apex slightly and running wide, bit too excited on the throttle. Gabba, though, doing a fantastic turn 1. Very neat, very tidy. Very much what we used to hear. Sean, of course, going now into turn 6 with a 23.2 for the first section there. It's not the pace I think you need to beat Gabba here. I think Gabba's we're going to be interested to see what he can do as we get into the sector here. There we go, a 23.07, so it's only a 10th and a half up and hard into the wall for Sean Lee, and the exit at turn 9. Not able to get the car slowed down enough. He's been a little bit scrappy, missing the apex for turn 10. Gabba, in for 9, using all the road, carrying good speed there, and is much tidier and looks quicker than Sean. Very tidy as well through the hairpin, able to get it in. Oh, Sean Lee hard into the wall on the outside of 13. I think he's a bit too scrappy here. Just avoiding the wall on the outside of 14 as we run to the line here with a 105.6. I don't think that's going to be enough. I think Gabba is going to have the pace. We see him absolutely flying. Car looks completely planted around the final corner there in the run to the line, and it's confirmed there. Gabba with a 104.62. Imran Razar, nearly 2.5 tenths of a second up the road on Gabba, so it's set for a final that's going to be intense. Sean Lee will be taking 3rd place on the grid with Adam Brown in 4th, but Imran Mazar versus Gabba for the final spot on the front row. Well, who's going to be where on the front row, I should say, sorry.
Yeah, it's a very interesting battle, that one there, Tom. And I think for me, the lesson from that one is just how important it is to really avoid a big hit into the barriers. You know, you can get away with just a little bit of contact, but we saw there with Sean Lee's lap, there's a couple of times where it was quite a big impact, and that ultimately cost him the opportunity of going into the final here for this duel.
Yeah, I think he wasn't quite doing enough to warm the tyres up on that outlap. Initially, he was very, very restrained in comparison to Gabba, where Gabba was much more throwing the car around, trying to get the heat in the tyres. I think one of the key things we saw there was, of course, through turn 1. He couldn't get the car slowed down in time, and it made big difference when it came to getting the car turned. So this is the head-to-head I think we all want to see. This is for the bragging rights going into the race. Who has the outright 1-lap pace? If I'm a betting man, from what I've seen, I'm putting it on Imran Mazar, but this is a battle I think is going to be too close for me to call, and I don't want to bet it. Andy, any predictions from yourself?
Well, it's I suppose the one thing that we should mention going into this one as well, of course, is there are points for pole. And that is a big part of the championship battle here as well for Imran Azar, looking to extend his lead at the top of the standings. 3 points for pole, 1 point, of course, for fastest lap in the sprint and the feature race. So, this is going to be an important one here for Imran Azar. But Gabor as well, of course, looking to make his way up the driver's standings. And, very strong performance so far from him here, although he's just gone a little bit wide there going into the left-hander, but thankfully keeping the car out of the barriers, so no damage there on his car. But Gabor just looking to try and get that car back up to temperature to get his flying lap underway.
Yeah, Gabba there, you see his Twitch stream there following Sidus Gabba down on the bottom there, of course, with one of our subscribers. That's one of the little perks. As we swap now, I think, to Imran Azar flying down the start-finish straight and braking well for turn 1, doing very neatly through there and getting through this first technical section very smoothly, keeping it apex to exits, almost as you say, very, very using all of it. A little bit of lag, sort of judding all over the place, which I think is probably just at the moment, hopefully will be all sorted out and won't cause issues during the race. A 22.98 for the first sector there. So I think does need to be a little bit quicker. Be interested to see if Gabba is able to respond to that one and where he's going to come out now. As Gabba turns through turn 3 and 4 onto the back straight now, sliding slightly through turn 5 with the big run down now towards turn 6 as he comes up to the line there, crossing it. And get to, and there we go. He's a 10th and a half up. He's absolutely flying. It was a little bit messy there through 7 though, so not great with Shaw. Imran Azar doing a 48.2, very quick through that middle sector though. Is Gabba going to have the ability to counter that? Imran Azar chucking it in for turn 14, very committed, very, very fast with the run to the line here. It's a slow lap for him. It's a very slow lap for him. A 1:04.9. The door is wide open now for Gabba with a 47.97. All he needs to do now is just hold it together through these next 2 corners. There we go, 2.5 tenths up. Gets through turn 14 now. Keeping it very neat, very tidy, and I think this is going to be a regal Gabba performance. There we go. Well, 1:04.83, slow from Gabba himself, but enough to take pole position. So the front row for this race is going to be Gabba and Imran Azar.
Yeah, that was a very, very close battle between 2 fast drivers there. Imran Azar just maybe lost a little bit of time over the final couple of corners and ultimately compromised his lap. But that's a very strong performance from Gabor, who takes the pole here in the duels. And I think that really does set the stage for a fascinating battle because we're seeing so many interesting storylines already developing here, Tom. And lots of drama awaits us here, I think, in the sprint race.
Yeah, as I said, it was a fight I didn't really want to call the winner of. Imran Azar been so consistent, but really when the pressure was mounted, Gabba just pulled out the performance he nearly always does. He is almost imperious in these qualifying duels. He's so consistent, and he's a man that just pressure doesn't seem to affect in the slightest. But there we go. The qualifying duels are done. Next order of business is, of course, going to be our sprint race, where we have, of course, 21 laps of this New York E-Prix circuit, of course, replicated here in Live for Speed with the 1 attack mode. Of course, turn 10, the hairpin, taking the outside wide line there is how you activate your attack mode, which gives you access to that full 350 kilowatts this car has, as opposed to down on the 300 that you normally have. There you go. You see in the background there, the attack mode, those blue stripes on the floor, on the outside of the corner there, just outside of that almost Porsche replicating safety car there. Need to go through there once in the sprint race and twice in the main feature race to get your full 350 kilowatts, which will give you far more opportunity to overtake down these very, very important and decisive long straights here.
Yes, I mean, the drivers will, of course, lose a little bit of time when they take that line for the attack mode, but they'll, of course, get that benefit through the final phase of the lap because it's very, very fast indeed. So it'll be interesting to see as well when the drivers opt to take that extra power because, of course, that lasts for 4 full minutes. So it does really help on the straights, but Yeah, I mean, I think for me the interesting element as well is when you come out of the initial first section, you know, that kind of turn 4, turn 5. You've got to be really smooth and patient with the car, but then you can finally put the full throttle down, and that's where the drivers, of course, will get that benefit from the additional power. But the thing is as well, Tom, when the drivers opt to take that attack mode, the car becomes that little bit more difficult to drive as well.
Yeah, it becomes much more skittish, far sketchier. Speaking to the drivers over the previous over the season, it's far quicker in terms of one lap performance when you have that 350 kilowatts. But during when you're actually fighting and racing someone, it becomes so much harder because you have to rely on the grip the car has round the corners and in those more difficult technical areas. And if you want to be getting on the throttle and getting moving, you're going to have to be so much more careful, so much more diligent with your throttle application there. Even though the run from 7 to 9 is slightly curved and looks like it's a good opportunity to overtake, simply the lead driver who's trying to defend just needs to position themselves sort of towards the left of the road, and it's going to become incredibly difficult to get past into 9. And then that whole back section, really from 7 up to, again, turn 1 is going to be so hard to overtake. And it's basically a half the track where it's near impossible to get past if the driver is ahead, is paying attention and just positions himself securely. So we're going to go for a short break now, about 10 to 15 minutes while we get ready for race 1. So we're going to leave you with a little bit of background music and a waiting screen, and we'll rejoin you for the sprint race. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to MRC's E-Challenge 2024, sanctioned by NDR. We are getting ready now for going into the sprint race. They're currently just gridding up in the background now for us. Currently, of course, the sprint race here, 21 laps of this New York E-Prix Circuit. Of course, just to reiterate, one attack mode, which gives the drivers access to the full 350 kilowatts available for them in these cars, compared to the standard 300 that they have while actually during the race here. So Andy, I know this is your first one here and you've seen a few. Any wild predictions you have for this event?
Well, I think there's certainly lots of drivers worth keeping an eye on here. Cyril Bisset, who we mentioned earlier on, a driver with lots of pace, will start this one from 8th position. It's a good battle between him and Lorenzo Lucchiti, who just missed out on the duels by 1/10 of a second. But a great battle, of course, in that final for pole position between Gabor and Imran Azar. And I think turn one will be very, very interesting between those two in particular.
Yeah, here we are now coming in for the grid presentation that we have here. Of course, the electric go-kart wheeling the camera down the grid here, ready for the sprint race here, round 3. So we have Gabor starting on our pole position after beating out Imran Azar. Gabor on the left, Imran on the right. Then to the left, we have Sean Lee bringing in 3rd, and Adam Brown on 4th, completing that 2nd row. Ramon Hornos there just a little bit further back. We're getting to him now. There he is on the left, that blue car in 5th, with Keres Montiotis on 6th position for the 3rd row. Timo Sarkinen done excellently there to get 7th, with Cyril Bisset rounding out the top 8 there on the right in the red car. Lorenzo Lucchiti there taking 9th place with the very, very bright green Roni Krompos there on the right with, I believe, 10th place. Todd Gonzalez there on the left, and Mika Sarkinen on our right-hand side there. Now, rounding out to the back 4 places, Sean Roberts, the creator of LFS, there on our left, with Yassin Badal there on the right in the red. Pedro Vitor there on the left as well on the final row. And of course, Nico Pantola rounding out our grid with an awful qualifying and ready for the race. He's going to be one to watch. So the drivers here getting ready. We're going to have the lights coming up very shortly for the run to turn 1. And here we go. Lights coming on. And any second now, the driver's going to be holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Holding. Still holding, long time hold. Oh, Gabor with a good start there. A lot of rubber laid down, but I think Imran Azar doing very well. Gabor moved to the inside to try and close him off, but he's going around. Someone's dived to the inside there. Have they all made it through okay? Oh, Cyril Bisset getting a bit of a tap, but still holding him around very well. Drivers trying to go 2 by 2 around these first tight few corners. I think everyone's pointing the right way so far. There's not been any issues. Looks like all okay. Yeah, just sort of some argy-bargy stuff. Andy, have you noticed anything as we go through there?
What really stood out to me there, Tom, is just how good a start that was by Gabor, because, of course, he is on the outside going into that left-hander at turn 1 as well. So, you know, if Imran Azar really managed to put him under a little bit of pressure, got that car up side by side, he could have very easily conceded that position. So Gabor still leading the way here, but one driver who again made a very strong start here is the number 34 car of Motiotis. He started this one, of course, in 6th place, but now finds himself on the final step of the podium. But Adam Brown and Sean Lee both very, very close by indeed. They're just a little bit of wheel spin on exit there from Adam Brown, but the drivers all making their way through, completing 1 lap of action here at the New York City E-Prix.
Yeah, as you said there, Andy, a fantastic start from Keres Montiotis there, getting ahead of Adam Brown and Sean Lee, which is, I think, really going to infuriate Adam and Sean, because they want to be able to contest those guys ahead. So how long Keres is able to hold them back is, I think, going to sort of decide what's going to be going on ahead. Yassin Badal went a little wide into turn 1. Actually has quite a bit of damage there on the front right. I think he's probably missed a few bits. And there's Timo Sarkinen diving up the inside of Lorenzo Lucchiti into turn 6 and 7, getting the job done very smoothly and absolutely dotted the T's, crossed the T's and dotted the I's on that move. And so just sliding through, showing really the overtaking positions are very minimal here. but making a fantastic job of those that are there for him, Andy.
Yeah, you've got to take the opportunities when they present themselves at this track because it is very tricky. This corner here in particular, the hairpin, is a possible opportunity to throw that car up the inside, but it's again, you do just simply have to go for it. It's simple, it's easy as that, you know. But Sean Lee here may have a chance of throwing that car up the inside, just a little bit too far back this time to ask questions of Adam Brown, currently ahead of us in the sim broadcast number 16 car. And you know, both cars again just scrapping a little bit here as well. So crucially, that plays into the hands of Motioitis here, currently third at the moment, but about a second between him and third place man Adam Brown. But there is our front two. Gabor now extending that lead at the front here to 2 seconds. Nico Batola, of course, started this race from the final row of the grid and already making his way up the order into 11th place. And we now see that message from race control, meaning attack mode is enabled. And Tom, I just wonder if Batola will be one of the first drivers to use that attack mode.
Yeah, Timo Sarkinen making the first one with Lorenzo Lucchini following him through. Is that Nico, as you said, yeah, he predicted it, diving straight in there. He knows he's got the speed. He doesn't want to wait. And there we go. I think Ramon Horno's at the back there, also diving through to take the attack boost there. Sorry, Scorn Roberts it was, diving through to take the attack boost. You see on the left-hand side, that timer counting down. Sean making the move now up the inside, not quite close enough, and having to back out of it. Ramon Horno's also having to defend from Cyril Bousset. Oh, and him, Timo Sarkinen has made contact. Bousset tucked in on the inside there, having to be very careful getting around, and it's been a bit messy. Nico Pantola, the huge winner out of that, diving all the way around, I think 2 cars there to take that position. So really, really fortunate for him, but an absolute nightmare for Cyril Bousset getting taken out by one of the Sarkinens. And then Sarkinen, of course, now in a position to try and contest in front of him on Ramon Hornos as well, Andy.
Yeah, and good awareness from the cars behind there as well, because it's very easy to be caught up in another driver's accident going into turn 1 here. But Bousset managing to keep that car running, currently 10th place at the moment. There's that lead once more extending though, Tom, at the top here. Gabor, 2.8 seconds. So he is extending that advantage over Imran Azar. Adam Brown here coming under a little bit of pressure now from Sean Lee. Again, there's a little bit of breathing space between those 2 drivers as well. So Sean Lee looking to try and take 4th place here. But again, we're seeing a couple of other drivers here. 5 drivers in total have now opted to take the attack boost. Timo Sarkinen being one of them. He goes up the inside here. Timo Sarkinen now makes the move. That's a very, very impressive overtake there to take 7th place. 2 minutes left in his attack boost. And Tom, the interesting thing for me is the drivers who have opted to take the attack boost, of course, get the benefit of the fresher tyres. The longer you leave that attack boost, it will have a little bit of an issue, but as the tyre wear starts to come into play.
Yeah, just sort of a bit of news in the background as well. Gabba apparently hadn't had the restriction on, which could explain why he was able to build a bit of a gap to Imran Mazar. The stewards have been able to virtually set the restriction for him. Just side news as well, Sean Lee has dived into the attack boost to take that and has managed to hold the position at the same time. Yasser Bidal has actually also just jumped into the spectators, so I think he must have had a bit of a crash there and retired from this race. As see a huge cluster of cars there all scrapping away and working their way through, really doing quite well, I think, to not have any major crashes here. I know this series is sort of renowned for the accidents, so the fact we're still pretty clean is looking pretty good. To see Roni in a great position now to attack ahead. Cyril Bousset diving round out the inside and round the outside of Lorenzo Lucchini, but Lucchini holding well, and not quite enough round. Excellently done from Bousset, saw the opportunity, took it, and really made it stick. So fantastically done from him. He's got the attack boost as well, so should be able to stretch his legs away. Oh no, sorry, I'm making it wrong. Lorenzo Lucchini had the attack boost, not Cyril Bousset. What am I saying? I think, yeah, Lucchini just made the mistake, and that really allows Cyril Bousset to take advantage and has been using a bit better traction out of the slower corners. See Mika Sarkinen there, still trying to hold back Roni Krompos. Of course, very difficult to overtake through this section here, so is really sort of struggling to take advantage of any opportunities he has. And have you noticed anything else?
Yeah, I think for me that was what made that overtake even more impressive there for Bisset was the fact that Lushidi had the attack boost and just couldn't close the gap once more. But again, seeing more action here. Teemu Sarkkinen, currently 6th place, putting Sean Lee under pressure here. But Sarkkinen is just about to run out of that attack mode here. Sean Lee has another 2 minutes of full power that he can use, and that should just extend his lead a little bit. Adam Brown, you're just seeing there at the top of your screen, just there now, he's got a little bit of a gap from Sean Lee, and crucially, hasn't used his attack mode. So again, that's a very interesting one here. Perhaps Sean Lee is just been coming under pressure from Teemu Sarkkinen, and that's allowed Adam Brown to just pull off into the distance.
Yeah, Adam has been very, very quick. As Adam jumps into the attack boost there, Sean really throwing a bit of a handbrake turn, thinking he's doing Formula Drift. I know they do it here at the New York, but I don't think that was quite the right move to do there. But definitely put a bit of a roadblock on for Sarkkinen behind. But Adam has absolutely sort of cleaned up into the distance while Sean is in this area of almost superior power, but just hasn't been able to get the lap times in to really challenge up front. And now Sean is still, even with the extra power, struggling to keep Sarkkinen behind. He's very all over the place. He's not braking smoothly and he's sliding a lot. I know he is a mouse user, so he'll have much harder time with sort of throttle regulation, which I think is what we're seeing him really struggle with this extra power here over those who don't quite have it. But there you see the gap that happens there. I think there's a battle here. Roni and Sarkkinen, absolutely, the other Sarkkinen brother, I should say, really fighting. Roni trying to hold it round the outside. Mika Sarkkinen, that is, holding the inside nicely, and then Roni having to tuck in behind in the run to 6 here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him. There we go, moves out, goes to make a bit of a move there. Oh, behind him. Oh, very, very close behind. Renault Hornos, it was Pedro Vito, sorry, locking up the wheel and going straight on. But Roni unable to make the move stick on Sarkkinen as well. He's done an excellent job at holding that position, locking up a little bit, but still all okay overall. As I'm seeing on my other screen, Sean Lee's having an absolute handful trying to keep the other Sarkkinen brother behind. So both brothers in an absolute squabble. And there we go, Mika Sarkkinen with the VR camera. We see there what he sees. That is exactly what he's seeing around this circuit. It's very impressive to see use there as you see real driver's eye view through the chicane there. And just quickly jumping to the front, Sean Lee has lost the position to Teemu Sarkkinen, who is now driving on up the road. Roni there diving to the inside of Mika Sarkkinen. Sarkkinen trying to hold it out wide to get the inside of the next one, and he just had to do it, but he has had to concede. Very, very nice move there from Roni. As if we jump forward a bit, Nico is absolutely on the tail of Sean. Sean has got absolutely no breathing room. He's got these two cars breathing down. He's all over the place trying to hold. He's struggling. And there you go, Nico going to the outside, able to get the better traction on the throttle, and has now made the move stick. Nico going a bit wide on entry, but is able to get it through, and there is through on exit. He had the traction, and there he goes. And oh, there we go. I think we're going to get it come through very shortly, but we're going to see some bad news for Gabor. Gabba has received a 6-lap penalty for the incorrect restriction. He does not have the correct restrictor applied, so he has been doing this race on full 350 kilowatts, which is an absolute nightmare for him, Andy.
Yeah, now I did wonder, Tom, because I was keeping an eye on that gap between both drivers. It was 3 seconds at its greatest, but it dropped to just under 1 second here prior to that penalty being issued. But disappointment for Gabor, because he has had a very strong race so far. But he'll be keen to, again, just try and finish this event on a high, I think. But disappointment for him. Imran Mazar, all the meanwhile, has just activated his attack boost and has a 10-second lead into the bargain as well here. Bisset and Sean Lee having a really good scrap here as well. But yeah, I think, again, we're seeing just a couple of drivers still not opting to take their attack mode. Currently, our new second-place driver, Motioitus, being one of those in particular, yet to take his attack boost. There he is there, second place at the moment. 5 seconds advantage over Adam Brown, who is just coming to the final few seconds of his attack mode. But yeah, I think a very, very interesting scrap here, developing potentially for a number of positions, but that one for P6 for me, with Bisset looking to try and get in there with one attack mode available still to him, I think will be very interesting to go. But there's just one other point I would like to pick out here, Tom, is the fact that we're already halfway through this race. Can you believe that? Just with the drama that we have had throughout. This is the 11th lap of 21 here in the sprint. This has been fantastic action here at the New York City E-Prix. And if this is anything to go by, then I think our finale is going to be even more exciting.
Yeah, it's absolute chaos start to finish. You see Pedro Vitor now diving into the pit lane. I'll hear in my ear shortly. I know he's stopping. We've been told he's stopping for new tyres onto that car. Interesting to see what he's going to be going for. Sean Lee is having an absolute nightmare with his mouse driving. He is really struggling with the rear tyres and is falling down as a result. He did so well with the 1 lap pace, but just as a result of he's just cooked his rear tyres and struggling like mad, as Lorenzo Lucidi has made the move on that position as well. We see Roni Krompos, Lucidi back to Lucidi, sorry, and Roni Krompos will be the next driver to start hunting down Sean, who's just losing time, hand over fist there. Very unfortunate for him, so strong in the qualifying. There we go. Imran Mazar now has caught up to Gabba. I mean, Gabba now, he's had the penalty applied. He's lost the 6 laps. He should have a blue flag to move out of the way. As Cyril Brisset made his way through Ramon Hornos there. I wonder if he's probably struggled out the corner, which really allowed him to get through. But Cyril Brisset has done a fantastic job with the attack boost to slide on through. He's really using it to build a very, very strong gap there. Imran Azar still fighting Gabor to get through. I wonder if someone has relayed the flag that Gabba should have blue flag now and move out of the way, but we'll find out shortly. He should be able to see it, but we know he's a very quick driver, so this won't be something he'll be wanting to concede to, but very well might have to avoid any further penalties.
Gabor will be looking to try and get fastest lap here as well, remember. You know, every point counts here. You know, currently 15th, so it will be 3 points that you will occupy currently. But, of course, you do get 1 lap for the fastest lap. So Gabor still, he will be focusing very much on his own race here. And he thinks, well, if Azar isn't close enough to me, then why should I let him through here? So Gabor, of course, has used his attack mode now. 1 minute 40 odd just to go. Imran Azar just coming to the end of his spell of the attack mode, but that gap now, we are just seeing a little bit closer now, so potentially Gabor may move out the way here coming down the start-finish straight, as Azar just going a little bit wide there and just clipping the barriers. But one interesting note here as well for me is our second place man, Motioitis, has got 2 minutes or so of his attack mode left, longer than any other driver here out on track, and crucially that just is buying him a little bit of breathing room between him and Adam Brown, who currently occupies the final step of the podium.
Yeah, big gap opened up really for Imran and back onto the podium. Adam also very secure backwards from that, so I think while it's been a very hectic first 10 laps all across the field, I think we're going to see it start to simmer down in places, but Gabba here coming in to gain laps back on the drivers ahead of him now, making a very, very good attempt there. But of course, another point to think about is that with a 6-lap penalty applied to Gabba, he does need to have completed 75% of race distance. That isn't 75% of the race while he's driving, but he will need to do about 15 laps, I think, to get any points here. So he needs to stay ahead of Imran, who is really struggling to get through here. Otherwise, he won't get the points. He basically, that's why I think why he's not letting him through, because he understands if he lets him through, he gets 0 championship points other than the pole position lap. Yeah, so I think that's why we're seeing him, even though he's got the blue flag, just not letting the position slip. As we see Sean there being overtaken by Scorn, who's working his way up. He's not an often racer we see here, but he has found quite a bit of fun in this series here, and it's been a pleasure to have him alongside us. Andy, we have Roni going on to Lucidi as well. Andy, take us through it.
Yeah, we're riding on board here with Roni, looking to try and make 8th place here. Roni yet to use his attack mode here as well, so this might be an opportunity for him just to take that car up the inside here, and Roni takes 8th place for the moment. However, Lucidi not giving this one up without a fight, does have the inside line now, but eventually now opts to concede the position. Good move there by Ronnie to take 8th place. P7, 10 seconds or so up the road, so it might be difficult for him to advance any further than this one. But of course, Tom, what we should remember is that we have this top 10 reverse grid for our finale as well. So it will be Sarkinen there, currently 10th at the moment, who will start the feature race in pole position. Imran Hazar here, we're seeing still behind Gabor. Now, Tom, if you're Imran Hazar here, you've got an 11-second gap between you and second place. So he doesn't, he doesn't need to worry too much about the traffic here. He just focus on bringing that car home. If he starts getting frustrated by the traffic ahead of him, it's very easy to make a mistake at this circuit.
Yeah, I know what you say, but also if he feels like he is maybe getting slightly distracted, slightly held up by Gabba, I mean, he doesn't have a clear view on the road ahead. As I believe Nico here catching right up onto the back of Timo Sarkinen there for 4th place. He's been doing an absolutely excellent job. I see he's gained basically most of the grid here, 2/3 of the grid, 3/4 of the positions he's gone through. He's doing very, very consistent driving and also catching really, really well. He's able to brake that bit later than Sarkinen and is really able to put the squeeze on. There we go. Scorn has been overtaken there from Gonzalez there, and I think has now pressure from behind again as he's being lapped. As we're trying to figure out exactly who that was. I think it was Carlos Monchoitis going on past him. So yes, of course, getting lapped there. And Scott there using the opportunistic move of Gonzalez moving out the way to allow Carlos back. He's absolutely dove through and left quite a bit of a gap. I think, Andy, just to loop back to Gabba, something to take note of. Race control is also warning him about blue flags. There he is. He's already let through. So I was going to say, if he doesn't move out the way, I hate to see race control end up taking more action against him there.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, and it was a good call he made there about the 107% rule, and that again just shows the importance of obviously there was an issue with the power, but it shows that Gabor was still thinking about the implications from a points perspective here in this one. Let's see, potentially a few laps to go here. Notice that Imran Hazar's, there's just a little bit of a gap between them. I wouldn't be surprised if Gabor gets close enough to Hazar, if he feels that he should maybe make that move and try and put himself into a point scoring position here potentially. But Imran Hazar, 12 seconds advantage over Motioitis. So again, it's just about bringing that car home now and turning your attention to the finale. We've got a couple of very interesting scraps, though, still worth keeping an eye on. That battle for 4th place in particular between Sarkinen and Patola, who, of course, remember, Tom, started this race from the back of the grid.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely incredible recovery drive from Nico, and he's going to be in a great position as well at the start of the next race. Todd Gonzalez has dived through to take his attack boost here, and Mika Sarkinen is the only driver so far not to have dived in to take it, so he does need to think about doing that. Nico here, of course, doesn't have to worry about any energy usage here. I see there he's got just about 30% left, but he's only got 2 laps at the line to really worry about that, maybe 3. So he's got loads of time left for that energy and not to worry. He just needs to really focus on getting ahead of that car ahead to take that 4th place, and then he needs to focus on getting himself a great start. It's so far been a fantastic drive and really, really unfortunate actually for the situation he's in. He had so much potential with qualifying and just wasn't able to realise it when it really counted. And I mean, this race has been quite painful for Gabba. Mika has avoided the boost again. I believe he's currently got Carlos Monchoitis coming back past to lap him, as we see Imran Hazar coming on to the penultimate lap. So still another 2 and a bit minutes of racing to go here, and a huge advantage for Imran back. Really, he's going to get a huge extension onto Adam for his lead here, and is going to be setting himself in a very strong position going into the last 3 races of the season, with this feature race and the next round as well, Andy.
Yeah, he certainly is. Of course, the top 10 is a reverse grid for our finale here at the New York City E-Prix. But a very strong performance from Imran Azar, our championship leader. And again, he'll be taking that momentum with him into our final race here this evening. Motioitis, a very strong performance as well from him, it must be said. And again, for me, that battle for fourth place still not done just yet in the penultimate lap here. Of course, these two drivers as well, Sarkinen and Patola, of course, are battling out not just for fourth place in this race, but for fourth place in this championship as well. Sarkinen trailing Nico by 22 points going into this one, and he will know that this is a good opportunity just to extend that gap by 2 crucial points as we go into the finale. Riding on board here with Patola as we approach the final lap of this sprint race here at New York City. There is our leader, Imran Azar. He's just got to navigate his way through the traffic to take the checkered flag here in the opener. And again, just all about just keep the car smooth and steady, nice and gentle on the throttle on the exit, and bring that car home to take the maximum 25 points from the sprint race. Of course, 40 points on offer for winning the feature, but a very strong performance here as he goes round the hairpin for the final time.
Yeah, just absolutely coasting now towards the end. Really, really fantastic performance for him all the way through. He did, I will say, get a little bit fortunate in terms of the fighting here with getting ahead of Gabor as a result of Gabor picking up that penalty, but has shown incredible pace to extend that gap over him. And there we go. Imran Azar takes the race win here. Mika Sarkinen hasn't taken his boost, so is probably going to be receiving a penalty as a result of that. Here you go. Carlos Montoyotis brings it in second place, and Nico Pantola has not been able so far to get past Timo Sarkinen to take that position away from him. So he's quite likely going to be starting down there in fifth place. Adam Brown rounding out the podium now in the sprint race with a fantastic drive to third. And there you go. There is the gap between fourth and fifth there. Timo Sarkinen taking fourth place to Nico Pantola, bringing up behind him in fifth. Waiting now for our sixth place car to come around to finish. Cyril Bousset, who, there we go, crosses the line now, and Ramon Hornos following along shortly. There we go. Round the final corner, I believe could be the last car currently running. I think maybe actually even Roni behind him. There he is, onto Roni on screen. Ramon Hornos, 7th, 59 seconds behind. And Roni Krompros bringing up 8th place, last driver on the lead lap of the race for our 15-car grid finishing. And there we go, on to the sort of the podium there for the sprint race, with Imran Azar taking the win, Carlos Montoyotis in second, and Adam Brown coming in third. Andy, what's your opinions on that one?
Yeah, that was a fantastic sprint race that we have just witnessed. Full credit to Timo Sarkinen as well for retaining fourth place after a very impressive drive from Patola. Of course, starting this one from the final row of the grid. Impressive drives as well from Bousset and Hornos as well, I must say. I think both drivers have been very impressive so far. But I think very, very interesting battles throughout the field here at the New York City E-Prix, and lots more drama in store.
Yeah, good results from many people up and down the field. Scorn did a very respectable drive there, bringing the car back in 11th, and was very close to some opportunities front and back around there. Of course, a few biffs and bumps around the field here, but of course, going to be a little bit more scrappy, I think, at the start of the next race, where it's going to be a bit of a scrap. Little fun fact for you as well, quickly, is that Gabor taking pole there ended Azar's streak of claiming maximum points for events. So just a quick rundown of the race results here. Imran Azar with the win, to Carlos Montoyotis and Adam Brown rounding out the podium. Timo Sarkinen first driver off the podium to Nico Pantola and Cyril Bousset in sixth. Ramon Hornos, Roni Krompos, Lorenzo Lucidi, and Mika Sarkinen 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, respectively. With Scorn Roberts in 11th, Todd Bonzales 12th, Sean Lee ending 13th after having quite the torrid race, and Pedro Vitor in 14th. Gabba ending up with a six lap penalty and ending down in 15th. And Yassin Badal, after doing just 19% of the race, 4 laps, ended up retiring and out. Gabba there taking a 105.5, which was due to his fastest lap due to having that restrictor disabled at the time. So yeah, that is the end of the sprint race.
Yeah, and of course, Mika Sarkkinen will line up on pole position in our feature race finale as well. And of course, Sarkkinen will start on the outside going into the left-hander for turn 1 as well. So it's important that he gets a clean getaway from the line in order to retain the lead of this race. But again, we'll see another interesting story with Gabor having to fight his way through the field the same way that Patola did in the sprint race. So again, one driver still very much worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, very, very well mentioned there. It's going to be exciting to watch Gabba come back through. Whether he'll be able to get up to the reaches of Imran, I know he's only starting 5 places behind him off the start here, and it's going to be interesting to see. I believe Nico, my money's on Nico to get a strong start and probably be able to be the first of the real contenders for a win. I think we can call them into the lead. It depends on what sort of gap he's able to create to the drivers behind there.
Yeah, and of course the drivers have 2 attack mode options in the finale rather than just the one that we saw in the sprint race. Now, Tom, it was interesting in that sprint race, quite a number of drivers opted to take the attack mode early on in this race, and I just wonder if we'll see some of them do the same again. Gabor's one driver who springs to mind, starting midway through the field. He might choose to take an early attack mode to try and make his way through the field and into a strong position.
Yeah, very. I think we're going to probably see a few taking them early on, try and use that advantage, but then also it does hamper your time a bit over the longer run because it really heats up those rear tyres. So I think it's definitely going to be interesting. I know some people in round 1 basically waited right till the very end to take their attack boost, so it's going to be interesting to see what people decide here. So we're going to take a short break now between this and the start of the main feature race. So everyone, you can go away, go use the bathroom if needed, refill your drinks, and we'll catch you for the feature race. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to MRC's E-Challenge, sanctioned by NDR for round 3 in the New York E-Prix here. We, of course, here are just getting ready for the feature race. We have the drivers gridding up in the background, getting ready to go. Of course, around this 2.2 kilometer, 1.4 mile circuit, featuring 14 corners and the attack boost, which, of course, for the 33 lap feature race we have here, they're going to have to use twice. And I know some drivers really struggled with it first time and saw almost negative returns from it. So they're going to hope to get a bit better luck this time. Andy, what's your thinking going ahead?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see when the drivers opt to take their attack modes in this feature race. But again, another interesting layer of drama to add to this one is the energy consumption that the drivers use in their cars, because of course this is a much longer race than the sprint, and what we've seen through previous rounds in this championship is a couple of drivers really struggling in the last couple of laps in a race. So managing your energy, conserving it by lifting and coasting into some of the big braking points is going to be absolutely crucial in this race.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be an exciting one to see here. So we're just going to be swapping over now to our camera cart as it rolls on down the grid here towards the drivers. Starting on pole position, we, of course, we will be getting there very shortly with our drivers. We got Mika Sarkin, of course, was our driver from 10th place in the sprint. So we're just having a slight technical issue with the cameras. We'll be getting there very, very shortly to run you through the full grid presentation. Only 15 cars taking the start this time, opposed to the 16 last time. Yasin Badal has retired from this event. So there we go. Cameras all set and live feed is up and running. So as I said, our pole position driver there on the left, Mika Sarkkinen, ready to go and really push down towards turn 1. Lorenzo Lucidi is in our second place after finishing 9th in the previous race. Tyrone Krompos in that very, very bright green machine there for 3rd, and Ramon Horner's done a fantastic drive and will be starting here in 4th. Cyril Basset got very unfortunate at the start of the sprint race, but is taking up the grid in 5th place. Of course, Nico Pantola with that fantastic recovery drive to main. He's starting here in 6th. Team Sarkkinen starting in 7th there, with Adam Brown with that lovely sim broadcast delivery starting in 8th. 9th is Kelis Montiotis, our second place finisher, and of course our sprint race winner Imran Mazar taking the 10th place position. Scorn Roberts, after a great drive in the first race, will be starting this round in 11th, with Todd Gonzalez just behind him there in 12th. Sean Lee had an absolute disastrous sprint race and will be starting from right towards the back there in 13th, with Pedro Vitor on the right there with that. And then, of course, Gabor with very unfortunate setup issues, resulting in 6th place penalty, and meaning he is going to be starting in dead last and is going to have a job to do to work on through. So now we are going to be going to the grid as we're going to have the lights coming up very shortly for the sprint race. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights up on screen now, holding ready for the drivers, ready in anticipation building for the feature race. I see Mika Sarkkinen there, the VR, and the lights go green. Slight slow reaction from Lucidi. Ronnie Krompos had a fantastic start, really gained positions, and Gabor at the very back already gained a couple positions. Mika Sarkkinen able to get around Lorenzo Lucidi, making a dive for time. Oh, contact with the leader. Ronnie Krompos taking him out, and they spun. Oh, Imran Mazar getting a bit biffed here, there, and everywhere. Adam Brown able to sort of try and work his way around the outside, but hasn't quite worked. Scout, it's getting a bit of argy-bargy with Imran Mazar there, and has ended up dropping back a few positions as a result of that. But I think mostly, other than our pole position, so Mika Sarkkinen has able to get through. Cyril Basset had a fantastic start, was up to P3, is now back to P4 with just a few cars ahead of him, able to strike forward. Scan Roberts has able to hold 11th position. He was unfortunate there because he had a really strong start and then has dropped back. Lorenzo Lucidi in the lead, followed by Ronnie Krompos to I think it's Cyril Basset, then Kelis Montiotis, although that is changing there with I'm trying to think exactly who that car is. I'm not entirely sure. I believe it's Nico Pantola might have jumped ahead. We'll get confirmation for that shortly. Back to Ronnie Hornets. Andy, what else have you seen happening on track?
Well, Gabor already up into 10th place in the opening lap here, so very strong start from him here. Lushidi is coming under a little bit of pressure from Roney for the lead of this race. Here's Sean Lee on the inside, trying to make a move here into turn 1, the left-hander. He does get that done just before we go into the right-hander of turn 2 on Scotland Roberts there, currently now going to come under a little bit of pressure from the cars behind. Here is the battle for the lead of this race here. Ronnie Crompos so just has managed to halve that deficit to 0.3 of a second on our race leader. But look, we've also got Montiotis beginning to ask questions of the two cars ahead of him here. He goes up the inside into the left-hander, almost coming together, but Montiotis takes the position into second place, and Ronnie will now have to fight again to try and get back into contention here. Lushidi managing to retain a 3/10 advantage over P2 at the moment, but Montiotis is looking very, very lively indeed.
Yeah, Carlos Montiotis, absolutely fantastic move and absolutely breathing down the neck of Lorenzo Lucidi. I would expect we're going to see, as long as he's able to get a solid final corner there, which he does, he's going to be in a strong position now for moving to turn 1, almost signaling his intention, moving out early, and there's the send. Is he able to get it stopped and held up in time? I think he has there. Fantastic. And has also run a little bit deeper to prevent a cutback and able to hold a great... Oh, and Lorenzo looking almost optimistically to the inside, but that quickly sort of put away as not a clever idea to do, and has able to build a bit of a gap now. Ramon Hornos, Ronnie Crompos, sorry, moving out to make the move on Lorenzo Lucidi. Is he able to make it stick? He's able to get through, and yes, he is. And someone's trying to take advantage in the background. But jumping back, Imran Mazar has actually just got past Ramon Hornos, and Adam Brown opportunistically followed him on through, with Gabor now behind him, looking to make a move, and is eyeing up a send. Ramon Hornos went a bit deep and ended up running wide there. So Gabor followed the other two drivers through. As we see there, another scrap. Team of Sarkin fighting Lucidi. Lucidi's having an absolute nightmare. He's just going backwards at the minute, but not looking to be outdone. He holds out there. A fantastic defensive move there to hold the inside line there. But the bottle in the cork, the cork in the bottleneck is what I should be saying there. Really doing a fantastic job and really bottling everybody up. We've got six, 7 cars now, almost nose to tail as we're coming along the start finish towards turn 1 here, Andy.
Yeah, Sarkinen still asking questions of Lucidi, who's went from first to third in the space of a couple of corners and just holding on to that final place on the podium at the moment. Patola, again, who's had an impressive drive in the sprint race, looking to continue to make his way up the order in the feature race and putting Teemu Sarkinen under pressure. Sarkinen, of course, started this one in pole position, but could find himself in 5th place here on the left-hander, because Patola throws the car up the inside, but now is on the outside on the right-hander here, so Patola will not be able to make the move on this occasion. All the meanwhile, we are seeing a couple of cars behind him put him under pressure. Adam Brown being one of them. Brown goes up the inside and takes that position as well. Keep an eye on Imran Nazar on the outside going into the hairpin here. Can he potentially throw that car round the long way and make a move? He is on the racing line here and does make that move. That's a great bit of driving there from Imran Hazard, it must be said. Fantastic action here at the New York City E-Prix.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic job. He got a little unfortunate and lost out to Adam Brown. Messed up his braking into turn 6. Was able to hold off and is now looking to probably try and make a move back. Adam there squiggling, moving out, trying to put the driver ahead of him off, trying to make them think about what's coming up behind. Team Sarkton there got a full load of cars behind. Some very, very fast drivers who are itching to get going. None of them really want to make a mistake. There is a long way left of this race. We're just under a 5th of the way in, and they're all absolutely scratching to try and find a way through. Really want to be getting on through. Again, there you go. Adam Brown's made the move on Team Sarkton. Excellent job into the braking zone of turn 6, and is able to do it with very minimal holding himself up. So going into the boost there, Kers Montiotis deciding not to go through it this time, and Ronnie Crompos also coming up with that idea. And you see an absolute train of drivers there following the 3rd place Lucidi through. As at the back there we have, I believe that's Sean Lee taking the first driver in the feature race to go into the boost, as Kers Montiotis is building quite the gap out front, which I think he's really hoping that the guys behind it were able to defend and hold up for him, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, the one driver who I think is in a pretty strong position at the moment is Roney, because Luchidi is coming under all sorts of pressure from a number of cars behind him. So that is allowing Roney just to focus on the car ahead of it and put in fast laps. Here is Adam Brown again, has already made the move. Luchidi's just had a bit of an error there going into the first part of this lap, because he's lost 2 positions here potentially. Yes, he has indeed. Here's Imran Azar looking to make it 3 here. Will Azar throw that car up the inside into the left-hander here? He does indeed. Will Azar make 2 overtaking manoeuvres potentially? He is still going to go for it. Imran Azar up the inside, not quite close enough this time round, but Imran Azar is really going for it here, and that was a stunning bit of action.
Yeah, absolutely chaotic. Nico Patola trying to be optimistic on Lucchini, had to back out, and as a result of that, Gabba has gone for a fantastically optimistic move round the outside of Nico, and that is going to be that position, I'm sure, sort of done there. Imran now just left to hunt down Adam ahead of him, and Roney has sort of backed up a bit now, so he's not going to be able to have that gap of advantage. I think he thought he was going to have the safety net ahead, so that's definitely opened up a bit there. Gabba staring at the back of Lucchini, knowing he has the pace to try and make this move, but it's been an absolute, and there we go, Gabba diving it to the inside, using a bit more energy just to make the move stick. You see Imran Mazar really trying to fight his way past Timo Sarkinen there. He knows Adam's got pace. He doesn't want to let Adam get up the road. He's already pulled 3.5 seconds away. Imran needs to get this move done on Timo Sarkinen, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam Brown needs to finish ahead of Imran Hazar if he wants to put pressure on him in the final event of this championship as well. Of course, Imran Hazar, a leader going into this event. Adam Brown, 2nd place going into the New York City E-Prix, trailing Hazar by 34 points. So Adam Brown must be looking to try and get a strong finish here. We're seeing Imran Hazar again just making a move in to the hairpin here, and we're seeing again a little bit of traffic behind him as well, so that allows Azar to begin to focus on chasing down the cars ahead of him. 4 seconds is the gap between Roney and Azar, but notice who is currently in 6th place, Tom. We have Gabor in 6th place. He hasn't used any attack modes yet and started this race at the back of the grid.
Yeah, he's done an absolutely fantastic job working his way through. You see, he's making a move now on Timo Sarkinen, who I think isn't wanting to fight too much. He knows he has drivers behind him and he doesn't want to be caught up fighting with those. So I think sit behind them and try and just copy and emulate what the guys ahead are doing. Say that as Gabor starts sliding around the corner there. Kazma Joyce now absolutely miles ahead, 7 seconds ahead. Adam, of course, has gotten past Roney and is now on the hunt up ahead. But Kazma Joyce just has, he's got 25 laps to fend off a charging Adam Brown. He's very good on his energy normally, so whether he's able to sort of emulate that today is going to be very interesting to see, and if he's going to use that to hold. You see, got a move going on Lucchini behind there. I believe that's Sean who has done the overtake here, using that attack boost to maximum effect to try and work his way through this more bunched up, jostling traffic. And there's Kazma Joyce starting the lap, absolutely miles ahead of Adam Brown behind there. And you see finally coming out of the final corner and Roney Krompos behind him with Imran Mazar hunting down Roney there. The gap there is not much at all. I assume we'd see Imran coming past in the next lap or so, Andy.
Yeah, now keep an eye on Timo Sarkinen here, because he has just activated his attack boost. Now, will he be able to ask questions of Gabor and Azar ahead of him? Because he will be looking to try and close this gap here. Got a few seconds to close them down, but 3 minutes of full power in this car could see him just close that gap and make his way through the field here. So Timo Sarkinen, one driver, certainly worth keeping an eye on. But we do have a scrap here for that final podium place at the moment, because Roney and Imran Hazar are very, very close by on track here. So we could potentially see a change for P3 over the next wee while. We just see that there in the edge of the screen. Imran Hazar not quite close enough at the moment to make the move, but great bit of action here throughout the field here. Timo Sarkinen still looking to take advantage of that attack mode. He'll get that benefit, of course, down the straights. Nice and smooth on the exits of the corners here as well. But Nico Patola, you would have thought he had the attack boost here by just how close he's been able to follow Sarkinen in this last lap. But again, a very strong performance in the feature race here as well from the number 2 car.
Yeah, something to note with Nico, he's having a bit of trouble. I think he's even got Sean Lee starting to close the gap to him there. So it's definitely becoming a bit of an issue. Nico's not able to get past Tima here, who was doing such a fantastic defensive job earlier. Just jumping over to the front. Imran Razak making a move on Roni Krompos at the minute. Slides through very cleanly into the turn 6, 90 left, and is able to get through very minimal. And as a result of that, even ended up bunching Gabba back a little bit, so he wasn't able to get on through. Oh, a huge lock up and slide from Gabba into the apex there, but all this time is just allowing Imran to run away ahead and start focusing on catching Adam in front, who is not able actually currently, even though he has just activated his attack boost. I was about to say he's losing time, but it's because he went through the attack boost, which lost him a bit of time. Imran, of course, does have a little bit of damage on the front left. Doesn't seem to be affecting him so much at the minute, but it will be interesting to see how it does over the course of the race if that increases tire wear. As Gabba there is going for the move up the inside on Roni. Roni not fighting it too much. I think he kind of knows if Gabba's going to go for the position and move, he's going to end up getting through. And his fight isn't with Gabba, it's the guys behind he just needs to focus on. Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. There is Imran Azar currently now on that final podium position and looking to close down Adam Brown, the two at the top of the Drivers' Championship, of course, going into this one. Timo Sarkkinen into his final minute of his attack boost. Adam Brown has also just activated his as well. So again, looking to try and just keep Imran Hazar a few seconds behind him. So yeah, again, we're just seeing a couple of other drivers beginning to activate their attack boost as well. Ramon Hornos being one of them. And it looks like, again, Tom, I think we're seeing 11 laps gone in this race, a third of the way through the feature race, and so many good moves, including this one there. There is Nico Patola making the move there, not with attack mode. Timo, of course, 20 seconds left of that attack boost, so Tom, that's a very impressive pass.
Yeah, Nico done absolutely excellently to slide on through that gap there and really put the pressure on and make. I think it comes down to the fact that these cars don't have the most amount of mechanical grip, so Nico's really able to exploit him there and put him in a situation where Sarkin realistically couldn't get the power down due to all the power he does have to put down would have just caused him a bit of issues. So I think he ended up having to yield and concede that one and have to look for an opportunity to try and get back now. But just listening onto Sarkin there, he lifted at the 200 board and coasted all the way down that straight. And now in Sarkin's mirror is a Sean Lee who's hunting very aggressively. As we're seeing here, Pedro Vitor right now in front of Mika Sarkin behind, but Mika, we know, probably has a little bit more pace than for where he is now, and I think should be able to work his way back through, having a little bit of issues. There we go. Got that VR camera Sarkin working again there. So is he going to look to make an opportunity? Where's you reckon it's going to come from, Andy?
Well, I think the hairpin is proving to be a popular place for overtakes. Turn 1 as well, if you can get the car up side by side, you've got every opportunity of making the move stick. We are seeing a number of drivers going, before you go into the hairpin, go into the left-hander at turn 9. That is also an option there because, of course, you're getting the benefit of the straight in the build-up to that corner. But yeah, it's again, we're seeing a couple of other drivers activating their attack modes, Imran Hazar being one of them, Luchidi also opting to do so from 9th place. And yeah, there's our race leader. 6 seconds is the advantage between Motioitis and Adam Brown. Of course, our race leader yet to use any of his attack mode options, and then he now opts to do just that as he goes round the hairpin. So 4 minutes of full power for our race leader. 6 seconds is the gap at the moment. Let's see what that ends up like in a few laps' time. Full power for our race leader as we see a change in position for P2 as well. Imran Hazar has made the move on Adam Brown. We see that there on our timing sheet, so that is a big move in this championship as well. There is Hazar making his way around the final lap and crossing the start-finish line in P2. Adam Brown now in 3rd place, and of course look who we've got in 4th place. Gabor starting this one from the back of the grid and is now very much in podium contention, Tom.
Yeah, the man who just keeps on coming. He never seems to quite ever have an off day. Yes, mistakes do happen occasionally. This evening, it's been absolutely catastrophic with that 6-lap penalty for the first one. But he still also has 2 attack boosts as Imran Razar runs a little wide into turn 6, but all okay. He does have 2 attack boosts, and I'm hearing his tyres are in really strong condition as well. So he's got all that to play for going forward. As you see the compounds, those top 5 all on the same R1 tyre, and then down the back of the field, it sort of splits them between R2s and R1s to the end there. As we see Gabor dive into the attack boost zone there, so he's now going to have 4 minutes of full power. Now Adam is going to be almost vulnerable without any power, without the attack boost power, down 50 kilowatts compared to Gabor and Imran Mazar in front of him. So really going to have to try and work and make sure that his car is as wide as possible into the braking zones, Andy.
Yeah, this is going to be fascinating to see how this battle unfolds. Gabor now opting to take the attack mode for the first time in this feature race. Adam Brown's already used one attack mode that is available to him, so Gabor will pile on the pressure here to try and get himself into podium contention. He's had a very strong race so far, and this could be one of the defining moments in this feature finale. Gabor now going into the left-hander, into the right-hander, hooking that car up nicely on the apex, getting that maximum power available to him now on this straight. It will feel like Adam Brown will be struggling to try and keep him at bay here in comparison because of the power difference between these two cars. Let's see how Gabor takes the hairpin here. And Adam Brown's gone a little bit wide, in fact, as well. That will close the gap even further for Gabor. So we could potentially see a change of position in the next couple of laps here, because Gabor, of course, will get the benefit here as we go through the chicane as well. Getting the power down nice and cleanly on the exit as well. Managing to keep that car out of the barriers. This is where you've got to be brave. It does require a lift, but you need to get the throttle down nice and quickly. And Gabor, look at this gap now. Not a lot between the two cars indeed. We could see a change for position here, because wide goes Adam Brown, but he is on the inside on the right hander though. Gabor's got to go the long way around if he wants to get into podium contention. Adam Brown a little bit of a sliding from the car on the exit, but again holding on to the inside line and holding on to the podium position here at the moment. Gabor is not done just yet though. Gabor on the outside into the left hander. Adam Brown closing the door and holding on to third place in this race.
Yeah, fantastic recovery from Adam there. He made the mistake into turn 1, but was quick to react to it and was not willing to give up that position. He knows if he lets someone like Gabor through, he's going to have an incredible job on his hands to try and get it back. So absolutely fantastic defensive driving for that. In that time as well, Nico Pantola did get past Ronin Krompos, so he is up to 5th position as well. And another thing to look at, the gap to Carlos Montoyotis with Imran Mazar is coming down. It's not flying down by any means, but it is coming down by around half a second or so a lap. And then we're also going to have to, drivers need to start thinking at this point for where their energy is at, as we've just come on to the sort of halfway point now, and all the drivers currently looking absolutely fine. Only one who's looking a bit iffy, Ramon Hornos, but we're just over halfway done, and he is looking fine, to be honest, actually. So yeah, drivers doing far better today than previous occasions, and doing an excellent job at conserving their current energy, Andy.
Yes, but I suspect Adam Brown will not be doing much lifting and coasting at the moment, as he's looking on to hold on to third place at the moment. 40 odd seconds left of full power for Gabor here. Adam Brown took the hairpin so well on the last lap. It really compromised the exit of Gabor last time round. Let's see how he approaches it this time round here. Gabor trying to just hook that car up nicely. Gone a little bit wide on the exit. Again, Adam Brown getting the power down very, very cleanly indeed. Holding off the threat from Gabor and holding on to third place in this race. Gabor will have one last attempt here on the straight here of full power as we come round the final corner of this lap. Adam Brown in third place. Will he commit to the inside early? Or will, and in fact Gabor's already gone. Gabor goes up the inside. Adam Brown on the outside. There's a little bit of contact on the exit, and wide goes Gabor. Gabor is spun round, and Adam Brown holds on to third place. This is sheer drama here at New York City. Gabor spins it going into turn 1. Contact between the two drivers, and Adam Brown holds on to third place, Tom. But that was a big, big talking point in this race.
Yeah, I think Adam is definitely going to come under the mire of the stewards for that one. It looks a little bit like he moved across on him. We don't quite have the straight lines down the track to give a proper reference on it, but that looks a funny one, and there's definitely going to be, I think, penalties coming out for someone from somewhere with this one, and it's going to I don't want to be the one judging it, and thankfully I don't have to be, because that is going to be a big one. But moving forward to the race, Imran Mazar 2.8 seconds now to Carlos Montoyotis. Adam Brown a further 7 seconds back from Imran, and then Gabor now just 3 seconds also behind Adam and will be looking to close ahead. Careless also coming onto the back of lap traffic there in the I believe that is Scorn Roberts there hunting down Mika Sarkin in front of him. So very close battle going on there and going on ahead. I'm just hearing people whispers in my ear suggesting Gabba might have moved on to Adam. So there we go. Thankfully, I'm not the one judging it. Hey, yeah, there Careless moving smoothly past Scorn there and just has to then get through Mika Sarkin ahead. Andy, what's your thinking on this sort of traffic now coming into play?
Well, it's interesting. Imran Azar's got that gap down to 2.2 seconds here. Morte Hoitis has got a little bit of breathing space, so we do see race control issuing a penalty to a drive-through penalty for car number 7. That is showing lap 15, turn 1. We don't have a car 7 though, so we just seek clarification on who that penalty has been awarded to. Lap 15, turn 1 suggests that it might be potentially between that battle that we saw a few laps ago for 3rd place. I wonder if that's maybe where it's from, or is it potentially a little bit more recent? We'll have to wait and see. So stay with us here as we seek clarification on that penalty. But interesting for me here as well, Tom, is we have just 3 drivers yet to take attack mode in this race. One of them is 5th place man, Nico Patola. Currently 2 attack modes available to him, 3 seconds adrift. We're hearing it's the number 73 car of Gonzalez who has received the penalty, who's just served it now, in fact. So Gonzalez there will have served his penalty and will be looking to just press on and try and finish this race as strongly as he can. There is the confirmation from race controls, car number 73 receiving a drive-through penalty for causing a collision into turn 1 on lap 15. But here is, let's take a look again at the battle throughout the field here. We're seeing again a little bit of pressure here for the Bisset here, because look at that, as he's just about 0.4 of a second between him and Ronnie in the green car just ahead of us. So very, very close here between these 2 drivers. But Ronnie managing to hold on to that position at the moment. Got again another potential overtaking opportunity here. Sean Lee looking to get into 5th place here with a move on Patola, but just a little bit too far behind this time of asking, Tom. But again, another interesting battle beginning to develop.
Yeah, Sean having a far better race this time around. I think he's definitely figured out some of his issues he had in the last race, and he's not cooking his rear tyres anywhere near as much, and is able to really look ahead. As we see now, this is the battle for the lead. Imran Mazar versus Carlos Montuitis. Imran Mazar also has the Pedro Vitor has come out of the attack boost and moves across right in front of Imran Mazar there, which Imran Mazar I'm sure will not be pleased about in the slightest, and is definitely going to be highly frustrating. Of course, Imran Mazar does have the attack boost to be where to use, and is going to be able to use that to really close down. Huge effect down the start finish straight and down that back straight there. So whether he's able to really take advantages of it was yet to be seen. I hope we're not going to have any lap traffic to interfere with this fight, Andy.
Yeah, Vitor's just taken the attack boost and tried to get out the way there, but unfortunately just got tangled a little bit there with Azar. But no harm done, both drivers managing to come through unscathed. But here is the move for the lead of the race. Imran Hazar does make the move on Motioitis, goes into the lead of this race with 2 minutes left of his attack boost into the bargain, and that is the overtaking moment we have been waiting for, Tom.
Yeah, fantastic drive from Imran from 10th place where he was winning the previous one and then closing back. Carlos Montuitis also needs to take his final attack boost, and I think in this current position here, yes, I don't think you're going to be catching up Imran Mazar now, so you might as well dive through, get the attack boost used, and then you don't have to worry about going wide if Adam Brown's able to catch up behind you. Although Adam's held his position to Carlos, while Imran Mazar has really stretched his legs away from Adam behind, and Gabor as well. So Gabor's been suffering a bit since his collision with Adam, and has not been able to sort of regain some of the pace that we'd seen from him earlier. But we have Sean still sort of just behind Nico. There we go. Energy up on screen, just about 10 laps to go. Less than a third of the race left to go, and everyone's over a third of charge, so they're all good. In fact, Gabor's just been overtaken by Nico Pantola Nico is now up into that fourth place position, and Gabba is now going to be put under pressure by Sean Lee. His race is going really poorly. I think he must have picked up some sort of heavier damage in that earlier collision, Andy.
Yeah, it looks like it. He's just gone a little bit off the racing line there. Yeah, a good bit of. Yeah, it looks like it's potential. Let's just take a look at the front of the car here and see what the issue is. Maybe a little bit of issue with the camber here. Let's see if we can just. Yeah, I think that is
the rear,
front.
Andy,
Yeah,
the
was
rear.
it the rear potential as well? Actually, yeah. So Sean Lee coming under some issues with that car, to say the least. So he's got a lot of cars ahead of and a few behind, beginning to ask questions as well. So this is a challenging situation here for our current P6 driver. But what was interesting for me as well, Tom, just thinking back to that move for the lead of the race, is that Motiotis opted not to take the attack boost in retaliation. He has decided to keep it for the moment. Now, does that suggest to you that he's quite comfortable just holding a gap of just a second or so, and then looking to maybe take advantage towards the end of this race?
Yeah, I think it's very possible. I think we're going to be interested to see if he does decide to go for it now. I know being in that sort of almost slipstream, I think a bit over a second half out, he's not really going to be in the slipstream anymore. Is he going to go for it now? No, he continues on. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get the slipstream to really benefit of saving of Imran ahead. So I think it could quite possibly be a good idea for him just to jump through and take the attack boost, use that, you lose the second or so you lose. We're taking that one as Gabba has dived into the attack boost and is using that to boost back past Sean Lee. Little side-by-side contact on the two of them, but both drivers got away relatively okay there. So Gabba, I think, is sat there thinking he needs the attack boost to be able to defend from Sean out of some of the corners with that positive rear left camber he's got, which might help him through that final corner, but probably hinders him heavily around the rest of the track, Andy.
Yeah, I think that could well be an issue as this race develops as well. We've just seen another move there, Scotland Roberts making the move in to the first phase of this lap as well. So again, that's a move for P12. Vitor still has one attack mode available to him. Quite a few drivers have already taken the two attack mode options available to them. But look at this battle at the front, Tom. Motiotis hasn't taken his attack boost, as we've already mentioned, but is closing the gap on Imran Hazar. So does that suggest to you that he's looking to maybe try and force an error out of our championship leader here and then benefit from the attack boost? We have just, again, we're coming to the final few laps of this race, and Motiotis is really asking questions of our race leader.
Yeah, he's definitely trying something. I think Imran might be just looking at some of his fuel saving at the minute. He does have 26.5% power left, so I don't think he's going to have an issue with the power. He's got a fifth of the race to go and a quarter of his charge left, so he should be absolutely fine now. I think Keles Monjoitis just might be taking a bit of advantage of almost Imran thinking it's cruise home time and trying to get involved and really wake him up when he's sort of almost relaxing into the lead a bit. So very, very interesting. I think just nipping across to Nico, Gabba and Sean, they're absolutely squabbling their way through some traffic at the minute. As you see cars everywhere, here, there and everywhere. As you see Gabba looking to make the move in Pedro. Pedro hasn't been dealing with lapping traffic very well. He's putting Sean right out towards the wall at the minute, which is making them then very vulnerable to Sarkin, who's closing in on the back of Sean as well. So while there is definitely squabbles going up the field, there's also the ones pressuring further down. As we see, Sean Lee has dove into the attack zone to take the boost, and also so has Keles Monjoitis, which is why he's dropped a little bit of time back from Imran Razar, but now does have the extra 50 kilowatts to try and close the gap, Andy.
This is going to be one of the key deciding factors in the outcome of this feature race. Motiotis has 4 minutes of full power in that car. He's already been putting Hazard under pressure. This is where he's going to really try and make it count. Of course, he lost a few tenths of a second by taking the attack boost, but he's already, I'm sure, beginning to make amends on that. Let's see if Motiotis will be looking to try and take that overtaking opportunity if it presents itself over the next few laps. Imran Hazar has just really got to defend here towards the last few laps of this race, but Motioitis is the driver with the momentum, with the opportunity to take the win here in the finale. So let's see, Tom, if Motioitis can make this move. 2 and a bit minutes left of attack boost. Will Imran Hazar be able to hold on to the lead of this race?
Yeah, he's done a really strong job around certain sections of this track. I mean, in the last lap, he's taken a half a second out of Imran Hazar. That is a monumental amount of time, especially when this lead is less than 2 seconds to start with. He's going to get where we're at now. He's got just under 2 laps, just over 2 laps of attack boost left to go here. So whether he'll be able to use that to really put him under pressure, of course, when you're normally driving these cars, you're lifting for so long down the back straight here. It's very possible he can use that to really try and force Imran into a mistake on the braking zone, and also then look for opportunities. Turn 1, try and see if you can catch him napping into turn 9 or turn 10, and just really try and disrupt him. There's always run a bit wide himself. That's going to cost him a lot of time there. That's not what you want to do. He was doing everything he needed to do. He was closing over 0.2 of a second again on this lap alone, but that's going to hinder him. We're going to see him have dropped back a little bit here. We're going to get the split. It's only 1.6 seconds, so he had taken another big chunk of time out of him, but he does need to keep his head screwed on, keep the focus, and keep trying to push. I mean, Imran, we know is good, but he is, as everyone, he is only human. So if you keep the pressure up enough, then very might slip into a mistake, Andy.
Yes, this will be about a lap and a half or so of attack boost remaining for Motioitis. We do see that notification coming through from race control. The incident involving Gabor and Adam Brown will be investigated after this race, as Adam Brown puts in the fastest lap of the race. Motioitis, 1.4 seconds is the gap currently between him and our race leader, Imran Hazar. Less than a minute remaining of the attack boost for second place man Motioitis. Can he close that gap? It looks like it's actually extended slightly, Tom, to 2 seconds. So Motioitis has it all to do here in the final few laps of this race.
Yeah, I think he's getting a little bit desperate, and he's really just trying to force a move. And any driver will tell you, if you ask them about this, you can't force this car to do everything. This car, you've got to let it do its thing, and it will bring you the time. And I think just coming out of turn 5 onto the back straight, he was trying to force it onto the throttle a bit too soon, which ended up him sliding slightly, hitting the wall, but able to remain very straight. And Adam was responding to the guys behind him by setting fastest laps, but I don't think that's really going to make much difference on what's going on ahead. Careless now 2.5 seconds away from Imran, who's driving an absolutely impeccable race so far. He's doing absolutely everything he needs to do to keep his car ahead. And there we go. Carlos Motioitis is now out of attack boost. The scales have been balanced once again, and it's all down purely to driver versus driver, as I think Sean is currently making a move on Gabba. Yes, Sean's dove up the inside of Gabba and is now right onto the back of Nico Bandola for the back straight. Of course, Sean now still has the attack boost as well. One of the final drivers have it, and there we go. It's just run out, but he does have quite a bit more charge in the tank to use, and so he's going to probably use this to a bit more advantage there. Move to the inside to kind of ward off any following up attacks from Gabba there, and Gabba is, of course, really struggling and probably having to save a little bit due to his issues with his car. But Imran Hazar here still absolutely miles clear now of Carlos Motioitis, really taking absolute advantage of the mistakes Carlos made and has built the gap and has extended it quite a bit more here. Pedro Vitor has now retired from the race, unfortunately, so that is the end of that. So down to our final 14 drivers. Rony Krompos yet to take his second attack boost. He needs to do it. I'll be surprised if he doesn't take it here. And there we go. Dives straight through there to take the attack boost, and there it is. Confirmation. Also, Todd Gonzalez, I missed him at the bottom there. It's still missing. Still with one to go, with a very, very squashed nose on the front of there, in need of his attack boost. I'll be surprised. And there we go. Dives through as well to take his attack boost. 3 drivers with the attack boost at the minute, but currently no one really close to each other. Coming on to now to the final 2 laps for Imran Hazar, Andy.
Yes, it's been a very, very strong performance from Imran Hazar. Credit where it's due as well. He coped well with the pressure of the final attack boost from Monteoitis, and it's been a very, very strong performance from him. We have got a battle, though, for 4th place, though, Tom, because Sean Lee has now made the move on Nico Patola. This is a really interesting battle heating up here. We've got 4 cars potentially in contention for 4th place here, but Sean Lee is the driver currently in 4th, Patola in 5th, and Gabor in 6th place. And Tom, we mentioned this as well going into this event about the importance of retaining power in the feature race. We saw it previously where drivers were kind of struggling over the last few laps. Sean Lee is not doing that. He is going maximum attack here to take 4th place as things stand. But really interesting battle beginning to develop, and I suspect that one is not done just yet.
I'm going to counteract there, Andy. I think Sean, he's driven really well. I think it's been great to see the change in driving. I think he got his setup completely wrong for the sprint race, and is coming into the feature now with a far better planned car, far better setup car, and is now able to really control the race from this. From what he's doing, he's done a fantastic job at clawing back the time deficit, get himself into 4th. But now, Imran Mazar starting the final lap of the race. This is the man who just lost out to Gabba at the start with the qualifying duels and started on the 2nd row, was able to take the win in the opening sprint race due to the fact that Gabba had made a technical setup error, and as a result was running full power when he should have received that 6-lap penalty. However, Imran now has done a fantastic job to fight all the way up from 10th position to take the lead of this race just a couple laps ago, and it was able to fend off a charging Monteoitis by just keeping his consistency and forcing Carlos to make some mistakes. As we see now coming in to turn 10, the hairpin for the final time, running quite wide, but I don't think it's going to matter. 3.5 seconds is his gap ahead. He's got a lap car, but once again, I don't think he's going to catch him in time to cause any problems. Moving smoothly around turn 11 into the chicane of 12 and 13, and for the final corner here, chucks it in one final time to come out onto the back straight here, the start finish straight, and there you go, your winner for the sprint and the feature race. Imran Mazar wins both races here at the New York E-Prix, with Carlos Monteoitis taking the 2nd place position. And then rounding out the podium currently, Adam Brown, who has the fastest lap of the race, coming into the final corner and coming round to take the flag. Of course, that collision with him and Gabba is going to be investigated post-race. So currently, he's going to be crossing the line in the position. Gabba there with a car charging hard behind him. Who's got the energy? He does have. Oh, he's just got enough energy. Timo Sarkkinen, so close, and that's something we see time and time again here at New York. Someone always gets right up behind someone right at the finish line. Timo Sarkkinen nearly managed to get Gabba. Gabba did very well though, 15th, and it was very unfortunate. Rowan Hornos has in trouble. He's run out of energy and is going to have to try and roll it to the line round the final corner here. Who is behind him? How far back? I wonder if he is possibly the final, the Todd Gonzalez that they're coming round. I think Todd might be, though, a lap down, so he's not going to get him for position because he was down below. But there you go. Ramon Hornos crosses the line to take 11th, and Todd Gonzalez rounds out the bottom of the grid there. Score Roberts getting 12th, and Mika Sarsen in 13th. So, yeah, a full rundown for you there. Imran Mazar took a fantastic race win there over Carlos Monteoitis and Adam Brown, rounding out your podium. Of course, there is that post-race investigation between Adam and Gabba. Sean Lee taking 4th place after a fantastic recovery drive after a disappointing drive from him in the sprint race, to Nico Patola taking 5th. Gabba managed to limp his car home to 6th position and survived a very late charge by Timo Sarkkinen. Lorenzo Lucidi taking 8th, with Cyril Basset in 9th, and Roni Krompos rounding out your top 10. Ramon Hornos limped his car across the line to take 11th, with Scorn Roberts, the first of the lap down cars, in 12th, Mika Sarkkinen in 13th, and Todd Gonzalez, the last of our finishers, in 14th. And Pedro Vitor ended up DNFing after 84% of the race, 5 lap down. Andy, how did you find that?
Yeah, that was another entertaining race here. We expected nothing less. here in Master Race Cars E-Challenge. We've been treated to some fantastic action throughout this championship. The New York City E-Prix has been no exception, but full credit to Imran Azar, who has been absolutely terrific throughout this event. Carlos Motioitis with a strong performance as well to take second place. Adam Brown rounding out the final step of the podium with a strong drive as well. So many big talking points throughout though, Tom, and yeah, it's been great to have been part of the action here at this event.
Yeah, and here we have, after a slight technical issue, we have Imran Azar rejoining back on the top of the podium here. And I believe Adam, Adam's got walkabouts now. So currently we have 2 of the 3 cars on the podium, missing our 3rd place driver. But I think that has been an absolutely fantastic race here. And I think we're going to go for a short break while we wait for some of the drivers to join our interview box, and we'll go from there. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. After 2 hectic action-filled races, we are now going to be going into the interviews of a couple drivers. Joining us in the box very shortly, we're about to have Carlos Motioitis, your 2nd place finisher from the sprint race, the feature race there. Carlos, are you here with us?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, first off, very well done in the race there. I really did think for a second you were going to be able to claim back that and put a real fight to Imran for that final position again. Talk us through your feature race there. You look very strong. Run us through your thoughts.
Yeah, so I tried my best to do a very strong start to get past as many people as possible through the first laps, because yeah, like it's the best place to do that. If you get a bad start and get stuck behind a slower person for several laps, you waste quite a lot of energy. So I did not care about my energy spending for the first 2 or 3 laps. I just went for it. I got to P1 and then started cruising. The energy target is 3.03%, and I was at like 2.8 or so every lap. So yeah, I was cruising down the line, hoping to get a good amount of charge saved up for whenever Imran eventually catches up to me. That seems quite inevitable. But yeah, he caught up to me. He went for the attack boost, so he got a good boost in power. And I thought maybe because he was so far behind, I thought maybe he will have used more energy than I did. So I hoped I'll get to catch up to him after his boost and pass him. But well, first of all, I was making mistakes as well. But when we talked, he said that he has plenty of energies to spare, just like I do. So yeah, so much for heavy energy saving throughout the whole race.
Yeah, and when Azar made the move at the hairpin to take the lead of the race, were you tempted to take your attack boost at that moment? Because you did wait a few laps before you opted to deploy it, but were you ever kind of tempted to do it straight away?
I didn't really didn't really think about that moment, and that was a mistake on my end. I think it would have been better if I would have taken it when he passed me, but still not sure if that would have changed anything, considering that he had plenty of charge to spare as well. So, well, like, it's questionable whether that would have saved me.
Hey, well, guys, we're just going to do 2 questions tonight, but thank you so much for joining us. Well done on the 2nd place there in the feature race, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time for the final round of the championship.
Thank you. See you there.
So, going to be joining us into the booth now is your 3rd place finisher in the feature race, a man who is very familiar with. You'll be very. The feature race there was, of course, that moment of controversy, the collision between you and Gabor. Talk us through the race and talk us through that little collision event.
I mean, I've had a little look at the replay, and it's like I'm holding my wheel straight, and I'm in the middle of the track. It looks like Gabor's holding his wheel straight. It's just we have a tiny bit of different trajectory, and he runs across my front, and it's. Yeah, I mean, if anyone gets a penalty for that, then it's crazy. Race, both my feature and my sprint, like, could have been a bit better. I was struggling with my tires. I decided to be a bit more ambitious in the feature than I was previously, so I went for R1s, and yeah, most of the time it was good, but I had a little struggle with it overheating after I went on the attack boost. In my sprint, it was like I went the same R3s again, and they were probably the slower option, and I really saw it around this track where the grip on exit is really important. So yeah, I mean my pace was okay, but I'm not super happy with myself.
Adam, we saw a lot of drivers just clipping the wall on the exits of corners throughout the lap, particularly on the last corner. How important for you was it to be smooth with the throttle to really maximise the power on exit?
This car is crazy in terms of how snappy it is, especially when you're on full power with your attack boost. Really, in terms of lap time, you're not saving it. I mean, you're saving a little bit of time by not sliding, but the main thing is your tires. As soon as you get a little bit of slip, your tire temperatures go through the roof, and then it's much easier to slide, and then it's like a repeating process unless you drive really slow. So I felt when you slid it, it was really hard to avoid hitting the wall, because of course you're going full speed, and
Yeah, well, Adam, thank you for joining us once again. Congratulations on P3 in the feature race, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time for the final round of the season.
Yeah, no, final round. That's going to be exciting. I don't even know what track it's at, but Portland. Yeah, I know that track. I actually know that one. I know where it goes vaguely. I've heard of it, so it should be a bit easier to get the hang of than these last couple tracks. But yeah, hopefully I can. I think me and Carlos are now equal in points, so hopefully I can assert my dominance.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one to watch. So now we're going to be moving on to the 4th place finisher in the feature race, Sean Lee, a man who I haven't had the pleasure of interviewing for a fair while, so it's going to be good to get him back Sean Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Sean, very disappointing sprint race, I think, from your perspective. You did really well in the qualifying, and then the sprint race just seemed to go all wrong for you, but a fantastic recovery drive in the feature. Talk us through how that all happened.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. Thank you very much. It's been a while. Coming to this event, I was very ill prepared. I think I came back from work. I had like 2 hours to get skiing done and sign up. So I had zero practice, had zero setup. So I just went with whatever Azar had, which is my friend. And it worked out for qualifying, as you saw, but not really for the sprint. Yeah, it was just not working out with the mouse.
And Sean, tell us a little bit about, we saw lots of drivers looking to make an overtaking opportunity into the first corner of this race quite a lot, but then that presented some challenges on the exit around the successive right-handers before we went onto the straight. What did you find it quite challenging trying to pick particular areas of the track to try and make opportunities to make a move, or did you feel like there was, when there was opportunities to pass one driver, you just had to go for it, really?
Yeah, I feel like in the sprints especially, everybody was pretty much going at quality speed. So it was you had to go for every move that you had, because the car didn't really have any point in collecting region because you could make it to the end. So I think in the sprint there was much more chaos. But in the feature race, I mean, the car is pretty good by itself on the brakes. But T1 is I think one of the best opportunities to pass, because if somebody's slowing down and you're not on the region, you can just dive down the inside. I did it to my friend Nico onto turn 1. That's how I got past for 4th. I think I broke like 50 meters later than him. So, but you really had to keep it tight on the inside. If not, then with the layout of the track, it was really easy for people to get the switchback on you.
Yeah, well, thank you for that, Sean. It's always great to hear drivers' insight. We're just doing 2 questions tonight, so it's great to hear that, and we're looking forward to seeing you again, hopefully for round 4 ahead in Portland. So we're now going to move on to Cyril Brisset, is our final driver waiting for interview today. He finished 9th in the feature race, of course, and seemed to just have action all the way through. Cyril, thank you for joining us, and talk us through your race today. It seemed like, as I said, you had action all the way through.
Yeah, thanks. Actually, for the sprint, there wasn't that much action, I think. I didn't so much fight as I collected the remnants of other battles. I saw multiple cars battling and missing their corner on braking, so I took this opportunity to gain a few places. In the feature race, I did pretty well managing my battery, maybe a bit too well, because I finished with 1% left. I had a few battles with Ronnie and Lorenzo Chidi, but toward the end, I misjudged my remaining battery. I went for the attack and I missed. I missed the exit of the corner for the back straight, and then I missed my braking 2 corners later trying to attack. So unfortunately, no 8th place, but 9th is pretty good nonetheless.
Cyril, many congratulations on a great event here, the New York City E-Prix. Looking ahead to the final race of this championship, what are your kind of expectations going into that event?
Well, to be honest, I do not know the track, so I will have to see what it's like first. But I think I will proceed the same way I did here and last race. Try to stay on target for the battery, and if I can take advantage of a train, there was a train in the feature race that could help manage the battery a bit more and save for attack toward the end.
Yeah, well, it's one of those, isn't it? It's going to be interesting, and I think we're all excited for that. But thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you in Portland in 2 weeks' time. So I think that's going to wrap up our interviews for today. Andy, any sort of final thoughts from today's racing weekend?
Yes, this has been a fantastic event. I think it's been a great promotion for Master Race Car action and a great advert for Live for Speed as well. It's been so many big talking points throughout, and it has been great to be a part of.
Yeah, so just to finish off and round off now, just want to say thank you to the guys at NDI and MRC for putting on this fantastic event. Thank you to Pete and Elmo in the background there, for Elmo particularly for getting all these fantastic cameras together, and Pete for helping me out along the way today. It's been great fun. Andy, thank you for joining me in the commentary box. It's been our first time, I think, doing a event together. So it's been a pleasure with you. And thank you to all the drivers for attending today and putting on a fantastic show from us. So from all of us here at Sim Broadcast and to you viewers, thank you for joining us and enjoy your evening.
Bye.